All right, it says we are live on the StreamYard, so I'm going to assume that we are also live over there on the YouTube. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling Show. Hold on, Kingpin, take over for a minute. My wife wants to ask me something.
So we've got MK Joe hanging out with us. Thank you, MK Joe, for always being out there. Appreciate it. I don't know who ROH is, but apparently they're no longer with us, and we're gonna talk about that tonight. And I guess there's some other stuff that's gonna pop off. Gun loving grandpa's out there. What's happening, Buck? Seen Squib was out there earlier. I'm not sure if he's got us in the earbuds or if he just checked in and said hello. But who is ROH MK Joe?
Okay, I'm back. Uh, ROH is the abbreviation for Ring of Honor. It's probably the third longest operating wrestling promotion in the country right now. They were founded in February of 2002.
So it's like an NWO or NWA or something like that.
Yeah, they're one of the little independents, which is but they're owned by a major corporation. During the COVID thing, when you had other companies laying off wrestlers and whatnot, Ring of Honor kept all their wrestlers under contract. Them in New Japan did the same thing. They kept their guys under contract, and they're based in Chicago, so they couldn't do shit, right? Because of being based in Chicago. But they kept everybody on their roster, and they paid them as their contracts dictated. So they made sure that all their employees were still getting paid, the wrestlers were still getting paid, and everything. And it may have come back and bit them in the ass. Which in business, you try and do the what you feel is the right thing, and sometimes that can happen because you're not making money, and the money that you're paying your talent and your workers and everything has to come from somewhere, right? And earlier this week, Ring of Honor released all their talent from contracts, released all their employees from contracts, and put out a statement that they will have one more event at the end of this year, and then they're shuttering until maybe April at the earliest. The last time we saw this happen was with WCW, and we all know how that ended.
Yeah, but what was WCW just bad business practice? Like, what caused WCW to go the way of the dodo?
Okay, WCW, if you remember, was bought by WWE. Vince
I
McMahon's
vaguely remember
plan,
something
well,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, Vince McMahon's plan was to do exactly what ROH is saying their plan is: to shut down, restructure, and then reopen a few months later. It never happened. In the interim, when they started the restructuring, they threw their hands up in the air, said, "There's too much stupidness with this organization," and they just stopped the whole restructuring thing. That's the only time something like this has happened in wrestling, and it failed majorly, which doesn't bode well for Ring of Honor. Another thing that telegraphs and Ring of Honor may not open its doors again is they have put their entire catalog of video up for sale.
Well, the difference with Vince McMahon was probably venture capitalism. Like, do you really think Vince McMahon had any intention of not shutting that business down?
Yeah, there was no they bought WCW with the intent of keeping it running. That everybody who was working for WWE at that time and was in on that says that is exactly what Vince wanted to do, that he wanted to keep WCW up and running, if only to manufacture his own competition. But when they got in there and they were looking at the books and everything, when the accountants and everything started going through everything that was in there, it wasn't worth it for them to do it. So they just did the invasion angle instead, where WCW and ECW wrestlers joined forces to try to take over the WWE, and then they just slowly merged the two together from there.
Right, but I mean, I get what you're saying, but still, that to me sounds like Vince McMahon would plan something like that. Like,
No, it
would you
wasn't
don't you think that before Vince McMahon decided to buy the company, he looked into whether or not it was crap?
it was that It's not the that's not what caused Vince to say no. It wasn't the venture capitalism angle of it. It was he got in there and he looked at, and his people started looking at the contracts that the guys were under and everything. It was the contracts that caused them to say no.
Right, but don't you? I mean, and I don't know, but because I'm not that type of
Yeah,
business.
WCW had insane contracts for wrestlers. You had
Right, but Vince McMahon is a multi billionaire. He
yeah,
he he would have probably known that their contracts were bloated.
no, he had no idea what the contract. They had no idea what the contracts were. All that stuff. Nobody knew exactly how bad WCW's financials and stuff were until McMahon bought it, and as part of shuttering WCW, released all that stuff to the SEC. Nobody knew. He didn't know. No, they kept that so tightly under wraps. There were rumors, but you know how rumors go. It was actually worse than what the rumors were.
Okay, so now on to the other thing. The people tried to do the right thing during the pandemic, and what they just bankrupted themselves.
That's what it's looking like. Yeah,
And there's pretty much what zero chance that any of the actors or employees are gonna take a pay cut to keep the thing rolling.
there's not enough money going around right now to take a pay cut. They're backed by a major corporation. ROH is owned by Sinclair, and Sinclair says we're not throwing all this money into this.
What were no fans showing up? What's the deal?
There were no fans. Remember, they're based in Chicago. So if they were going to be doing like what WWE did, which has operations in Florida, they're based in WWE is based in Connecticut, but their filming studios and stuff are in Florida, so they could get away with putting shows and stuff on and having small numbers of people in the crowd and stuff. AEW based in Florida, they could have small crowds and stuff even during the height of lockdowns and everything around the country. Ring of Honor couldn't do that. Sinclair, their home company who has 2V Studios, based in Chicago. Ring of Honor itself, based in Chicago. With Chicago's policies and stuff, they could do nothing during the pandemic.
It's also not like Sinclair is a bastion of righteousness either. Gary's here. What's up, Gary?
Oh yeah, definitely not. But they said if it wasn't for Chicago's policies, they would have done the studio wrestling route like what Impact, which is based in Tennessee, uh, NWA, based I believe in Tennessee, and then like I said with WWE and um, AEW both being in Florida, they would have done that kind of thing. They couldn't. There was absolutely nowhere that they could get to where they could do that in the Chicago area, and it hurt them. It hurt them bad.
Couldn't they just leave Chicago temporarily?
All their production equipment, and everything is in the Chicago area. Even though Ring of Honor is owned by Sinclair, wasn't throwing a bunch of money into it, so it was extremely hard on them to do it. Sinclair would have allowed them to use their studio facilities in the Chicago area, but they weren't going to pay to have them go and do something else. Ring of Honor, whenever they would go out on the road, stuff was always in small little arenas, and the ticket sales from the prior shows paid for the current show. Sinclair wasn't throwing a bunch of money into them to where they could, which really sucks because as much money as Sinclair has, Ring of Honor should be a competitor with WWE by now. And
Yeah, well, I mean, because Sinclair probably thinks it's toxic masculinity, and they're probably happy that it's gone.
yeah, yeah, because if you on that front, just on the financial part of it, if you look, I'm, I can't talk right now. Ring of Honor should be what AEW is now. If Sinclair wanted to do something with this from the beginning, if you look at the wrestlers that have gone through ROH, you're talking about some of the top wrestlers in both WWE and AEW right now. You had okay it from WWE wrestlers who were in Ring of Honor that are now in WWE or have been in WWE. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. These are all top names in WWE or past top names in WWE.
Uh, but but you can't sell past names. Who did they have recently?
I will get to that. That's where AEW comes in. If you look at AEW, the most recent people to leave Ring of Honor and went over to AEW are the founders of AEW. The Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, Adam Page. These guys were all in Ring of Honor just 2 years ago.
Okay. So we're gonna have a whole bunch of unemployed wrestlers, or the people who were still yesterday with Ring of Honor, uh, gonna get picked up by other companies.
That that's what we're waiting to find out because when they released all of them, unlike WWE, they didn't give them the 90-day or 30-day non-complete clause for NXT wrestlers. They told them they go wherever they want right now.
Well, that's what I mean.
So
Is there
yeah,
anybody? Is there anybody of?
oh, there's
Uh,
people of talent that could easily sign with somebody else like that. So yeah, there are people that will be picked up. Whether their entire crew is going to be picked up, because just like every other federation, they're going to have enhancement talents and whatnot. That remains to be seen. But their top stars should get picked up somewhere for sure.
this dog is laying on its back on the floor with its hind legs pressed up against my bed, and then it's like front curled out, like his front legs stretched out in front of him. Weird. So when are they gonna know? Like when's the final? It's closed. It's never coming back.
Yeah, they
You
close in
say
December.
April?
They got everybody's been released from contracts. They're going to work on a pay per date basis for the final show that they're going to do in December, and then they want to come back in April with a restructured business model and everything.
Fiend dogs out there.
Yeah, chronic mismanagement. Yeah, that's MKJL put out an article from Sports Illustrated on the situation. I wouldn't be surprised if Sinclair ends up putting the company up for sale. And there's calls from some people for AEW to buy it. I don't know if Tony Khan is going to do that. He may buy the back catalog because their back catalog has quite a few of their current wrestlers in it, so they would be able to put this on Fight TV, who is their current streaming service, or Bleacher Report, which is another streaming service that they use. Those are their two streaming service partners. And there's rumors that Tony Khan may go ahead and just start his own streaming service. Having the ROH back catalog would be good because then you could have old matches with the Young Bucks, old matches with Kenny Omega, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Brian Danielson.
Can't you see all those matches on YouTube or Rumble or whatever for free? Like, couldn't I just type in Kenny Omega versus Josh Koscheck right now?
Yeah, yeah, potentially you could, but the video quality may not be as good.
Well, Bleacher Report's free anyway, right?
Some of it, yes, some of it's behind a paywall.
It's got some paywall.
Yeah, so does Fight TV. There's some stuff that's not behind a paywall, and some is.
Wasn't Cornette Smoky Mountain?
Yeah,
Jim Cornette was running the ROH.
no, he was running Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, that's a different
He
company.
was he was in Cornette at one point did work for Ring of Honor after Smoky Mountain, and he was the head booker at one time, but he never actually owned the federation or anything along those lines.
Okay, so why? Again, I understand buying the back catalog because then you can make tapes and you can still monetize old classic wrestling, especially like you said, CM Punk. You know, people really love that guy and some big top tier names that used to be on there. What would be the purpose of anything else? I mean, if in my thinking now, it's you buy the name, destroy or dismantle whatever is currently there, and just put it up on the
Developmental,
internet for people to watch the old matches.
developmental. You buy if you
Uh,
buy Ring of Honor, you make that the AEW version of NXT. You got your developmental program.
if I'm AEW, why don't I just make it Ring of AEW?
Well,
Why do I care about the Ring of Honor thing? Why don't I just get rid of that
it's
completely
tradition. People
and
know
give?
the name.
Hey, I start a new tradition with my company name. You know, I didn't buy Rich White's painting company
Well,
to.
companies buy other companies all the time just to have the name in their inventory. Like,
Yeah, I know. I understand that, but if the Ring of Honor name isn't what it used to be, wouldn't it be? And AEW's name is hot right now. Why not just make it AEW Monday Night?
well, they could use the AEW and then subtitle it as Ring of Honor. If you okay, you look back at the history of NXT, that was Florida Championship Wrestling before they changed the name to NXT, and it was still developmental as Florida Championship Wrestling, and it was still on the network as Florida Championship Wrestling. When the original NXT was a game show, basically, and somewhere along the line they decided they were going to change the name of Florida Championship Wrestling to NXT. But originally, Florida Championship Wrestling was purchased to be the developmental, and it was a few years later before they changed the name of it. Why? Because people knew the name Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, no, I understand that too. I mean, I guess you're right. They could just plaster AEW's Ring of Honor.
Right. You put a little AEW at the top above the Ring of Honor logo, and then you have Ring of Honor, and there's that build it, and you just use that name for your developmental territory. Is what some people are speculating. If AEW were to buy it, that would be why. If they bought the entire federation.
And I guess they could do like a Monday Night Raw and SmackDown thing. You know, have
Well, they do that
AEW
already.
Monday night and AEW Friday night.
Well, AEW already has that. They have Wednesday, they have Dynamite, and Fridays they do Rampage.
What was the one where the dudes threw that guy off the balcony?
Yeah,
MKJ was watching. Hold on a second.
that was on Dynamite last Saturday because have the whole NHL contract with TNT and stuff. They had to have Dynamite for a couple weeks on Saturday. But yeah, they already had AEW already has two shows. They do 2 hours on Wednesdays, and then they have the 1 hour on Friday. But there's also two YouTube shows during the week. You have AEW Dark on Mondays, or no, not Dark on Mondays. It's the other one, what is it, Evolution, something like that. And then Tuesdays you have Dark. Well, they actually have two shows on Mondays if you think about it, because you got the Being the Elite, which is officially part of the AEW storyline. If you look at some of the storylines that are going on in AEW, a lot of that has started on Being the Elite, which originally was the Elite's YouTube thing where they did all kinds of goofy stuff. But that's officially been worked into a lot of the AEW storylines and places. That's where the whole feud with Kenny Omega and Adam Page started, was on there.
Is Cody the guy that got thrown off the thing?
No, that was the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, and Oh, damn it, I forget who it was they threw off the stage now. Oh, Jungle Boy. It was Jungle Boy. You're talking about last Saturday, when that happened last Saturday, right?
Yeah, MK Joe
Yeah.
just asked about it because last Saturday he was watching some pay-per-view rerun that you had seen before. You kept ruining that by telling him what was going to happen next.
Oh, that was the WWE one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the Saudi show. Yeah. If you're not watching, if you guys out there aren't watching Being the Elite on the Being the Elite channel, that's actually part of AEW. And there's a lot of the storylines, well, some of the storylines on there overlap with what's going on Dynamite and stuff, and you get some behind the scenes stuff that you don't see on the show from like the angle and perspective of the Elite when they're going out to the ring and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Is that the elite the internet thing? Is that your logo, right?
No, that's my T-shirt.
Right, but that's for the internet wrestling thing, right?
No, that's the stable. The Elite is the stable, and then that's the Kenny Omega shirt for the stable. But they when they formed the Elite started as a sub stable of the Bullet Club over in Japan
Wait a
and
second.
Ring of Honor.
Slow down, slow down. What is a stable? Like a group of dudes
Yeah,
that hang out?
yeah, like the Four Horsemen,
Okay,
the
okay,
Heenan family.
okay. Now I'm caught up. Go ahead. Now, go for it.
Yeah, so that's it. That's actually they're stable or sub because eventually they would break off and go independent from the Bullet Club. Their stable is actually where AEW's name comes from because the guys in the Elite are the ones along with Tony Khan founded AEW. So that's where the AEW name comes from is the Elite because AEW is all Elite Wrestling. That's where it comes from.
So how long has that been around? Because I feel like I've heard the AEW thing for a while.
AEW's been around for they started in 2019 officially.
Really?
Yeah,
I
their first show was in 2019 under the AEW name, but you go back to September of 2008 with All In, which was a challenge that Cody Rhodes was given by Dave Meltzer, who's like the guru of wrestling journalism. He said that no independent wrestling show would ever fill an arena of 10,000 people, and Cody Rhodes took that as a personal challenge. And him, along with the Elite, and partnering with Ring of Honor, New Japan, AAA, and a bunch of other independent wrestling promotions, did it. Exactly what Meltzer said they couldn't do, and that is the origins of AEW right there. That show was the origins of what led to AEW being formed because Tony Khan is a big wrestling fan. He watched All In, contacted the guys in the Elite, and from there the planning stage is starting, and they premiered in 2019 with the Federation.
feel like I heard the AEW term before. Like we had WWE or WWF at the time,
You may be thinking of the
NWA,
yeah,
WCW.
hmm
Uh,
you might be thinking of the AWA.
that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, AEW is fairly new,
All
and
right, maybe it is that then because
yeah, they're already giving WWE a run for their money in certain demographic areas. So it's going to be interesting to see where how this all plays out in the next couple of years for sure. Especially with Tony Khan having the money and the backing that he has. Tony Khan and his father have more money than Vince McMahon could ever dream of having. And they are willing to throw billions of dollars behind AEW, something that Sinclair was not willing to do with Ring of Honor.
I'd say it has to come down it's going to be a political thing. If the Ring of Honor thing made money and was popular, and Sinclair doesn't care about it,
Oh, it
then
was popular. If you look on the independent scenes, they are the biggest one of the independent promotions. They could easily have thrown some more money into this, paid guys like CM Punk, Brian Danielson, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and all these guys more money, and put the money into the production and everything. And Ring of Honor would be just as big as WWE right now. They could easily have done it. Sinclair has more money than what Vince McMahon does.
okay, what kind of time frame are you talking about? Like
This
when
Ring of Honor
when are we
started
going to
almost
start rebuilding this Ring of Honor in this manner? Like, give me a date. Just make up a date.
I don't think they're going to.
No,
I think
no,
Ring
I'm
of Honor
talking
is
about
going to shutter.
you said could have.
Yeah, could
So
have.
take me back into
They
the past.
started
Like,
20 years ago.
well, that's what I mean. Take me
Yeah.
back 20 years. Then what are we talking about? 2012 or 2002 rather?
Yeah, they started in 2002. They
So
could have done this in a couple years. Look what AEW has done in 2 years.
that's what I want you to talk to me about. That's where I'm trying to lead the conversation is we're in the
Right.
boardroom and it's 2002 and you're Mr. Sinclair Jr. and I'm Mr. Sinclair and you're going to convince me to throw a bunch of money at these guys wrestling around in tights. And how long is this going to take before I start making some money off of these clowns? Like, show me your business model. How's that work? How long do you think it? If Sinclair was like going to go balls to the walls with it, how long and how much money do you think that it would have taken to be successful, like WWE successful, like you were talking about?
Well, you got to remember, too, at this point in time, this was right after WCW shuttered. And there
Okay,
were
so
a
there's a
lot of guys
prime
out
there.
there from WCW that hadn't signed with anybody yet. So you could have signed some of them and you had big name. You could have been up and competing with WWE in a major way in a year and a half, 2 years.
And how much investment is this going to cost me? Like, how much money am I putting into this?
It
Aside from
all
the money I
I have
already
no
put, how
idea how
much
much
additional?
production costs and everything in 2002 where I've
No,
legitimately
no,
I
no. I'm
couldn't
just
give you an
like, are
answer.
you talking about billions of dollars? Are you talking about a
Oh,
hundred
back
million
then it would
dollars?
have
Are you
been
talking about
no,
$2 million?
back then it would have been millions.
Like 10 million.
10, 20, 30 million, somewhere in the their territory most likely.
So if I slid you a check, if I slid you a $50 million check, you could in a year have me rivaling Vince McMahon.
With Sinclair's backing and their television
I'm
network.
Sinclair. I
Yeah, I
just
know.
gave you a $50 million check.
Yeah, you got to remember what was one of WCW's biggest factors for why they were so successful against WWE during the Monday Night Wars. They had their own television network. Sinclair had their own television network. They had half of the job already done.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you could do whatever kind of programming you wanted when you own the television show.
Right. Which that's part of the process. WWE doesn't you get people got to stop and think. WWE doesn't have their own television network.
Right.
AEW doesn't have their own television network. Sinclair has WGN, which is a nationally broadcast television channel. That was WCW's strength because they had TBS and then later TNT, owned by the company that owned them. Sinclair didn't put Ring of Honor on WGN. Ring of Honor was syndicated.
I think it's going to come out that a bunch of the big wigs were just stealing money
I
and
have no
hanging out
idea.
in Hawaii.
From the Sinclair position,
No,
possibly,
from the
but
people who were on wrestling.
the Ring of Honor side of it, no.
Yeah.
No, their people weren't stealing money. If anybody was going to be stealing money from that, it would be anybody who was at Sinclair itself.
Like
The I mean, the Ring of Honor guys, you don't pay your employees the way they were when you can't do business because where you're based, the government says nope, you can't do anything, and then at the same time embezzle from the company. You get caught extremely quickly doing that because you know somebody you're going to figure something out. You know what I mean?
so if they'd have just put their employees on half pay, would they have made it?
It's hard to say, man. It's because they Ring of Honor at this point had no revenue of their own coming in. Anything they were getting was whatever subsidization they were getting from Sinclair. So it is absolutely hard to say.
Man, I'm not even gonna start. I was gonna go off on some coronavirus nonsense, but I'm gonna not even bother.
Oh, there was definitely coronavirus nonsense because of the Chicago area and the complete and total lockdown that they had done. That ultimately may be what has killed Ring of Honor.
Yeah, they should take Lori Lightfoot and all those people to court and make them prove that the coronavirus exists.
Or failing that it's as big of a threat as what everybody that you see in the government claims it is.
It, it should be pretty simple to prove that it exists, and then you could prove how dangerous it is. They can't prove that it exists because it doesn't.
That all depends on who you ask. That's what I'm saying. That would not be the lawsuit that you would want to file
If,
because you're going to have all these experts come in and testify that yes, it exists. You're not going to win that case.
I'll bring in my expert, Dr. Fauci. That's pretty much out of his own
I'm
mouth
not
for the
even
past two
talking about
years
Fauci. I'm
said
not
that
even
it didn't
talking
exist.
about Fauci. I'm talking about the other guy. There are a
Well, hey,
bunch
but
of other people that are going
Dr.
to come in.
Fauci's the end all be all, man.
You're
Dr.
not.
Fauci canceled Christmas.
Yeah, according to Fauci, he's the big
Hey,
all and all.
hey, how many people didn't go to their Christmas celebration last year?
How many states are not listening to Fauci and still say coronavirus exists?
How many people did whatever that little monster said for the first year? Almost
Mostly in blue
everyone.
states. No, not mostly everyone. I sure as hell didn't. I don't care what that little bastard has to say. Little Pinocchio looking son of a bitch. But we're getting off track. But anyway, yeah, you're not going to win a court battle saying that coronavirus doesn't exist. You're just not going to do it. That is not the ploy you want to take. You're going to lose instantly.
What is
Your case isn't even going to
CZW?
make. But CZW, that's a
What's up, man? Of Tupperware. Thanks for joining us.
well. CZW Minute Tupperware says they had no roster to speak. They never really have. If you look at the way CZW operates, it's always been on a by show basis, which is why you have guys coming in and out of there all the time, like Dean Amber, or not Dean Ambrose, John Moxley and Kenny King, or Eddie Kingston and guys like that. The reason why they come in and out because CZW has never had set contracts for anybody. It's always been, we'll pay you this much to do this show, and the guys agree, and they'd sign a one show contract. They go in, they do that show, and then they go back and do whatever they want. And AEW lets their guys do that. That's how CZW has stayed in business. They have never had set in concrete contracts like you see with AEW, WWE, Impact, NWA, etc.
Okay, I'm a big fan of CZ. I think everybody knows that. But what does CZW and what does
It's a
GCW mean?
There are two of them next tier down from Ring of Honor in the independent circuit.
I'm aware of that. What does it mean?
I don't remember what the abbreviations are. I
Right.
think GCW is Gorilla Championship Wrestling. I don't remember what CZW stands for. Yeah, and they'll have CZW and GCW. They'll both have people from like AEW and New Japan and Ring of Honor show up on their shows. You don't see guys from WWE showing up on their shows because Vince doesn't let his people go anywhere else. The only person that he ever let go anywhere else and work while under contract to him was Chris Jericho. And that was only over to New Japan because that was written in Jericho's contract that would be the only place he would go to work. Okay, he said GCW is Game Changer Wrestling and CZW is Combat Zone Wrestling. Okay, yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. So, remember like a year ago, you said like this Japanese television show and this other TV show were joining up, and it was crazy because the champions were fighting each other and all that.
Yeah, they still are.
How is that working out? Like, is that gaining momentum? Is that giving the
From
WWE a run for its money, or is it not panning out? What's going on?
you've had some big names from Japan come over. Some of the older guys from Japan, but you've had some, and you've had AEW guys wrestle on New Japan's programming. So apparently from the way they're looking at it, it's working for them. But again, you see that model already because in the independents, the only company you didn't see talent exchanges at some level. I'm using that terminology because that goes back to the old independence. No, not independence, but the territory days, which is basically what almost kind of like what we're seeing. The only company that wasn't doing anything like that was WWE. Everybody else was doing it. Impact's still doing it because Impact just had Minoru Suzuki on there, or they're setting up to have Minoru Suzuki. They just announced that Suzuki's going to be on there. If you don't know who Minoru Suzuki is, he's one of the guys that started MMA over in Japan before it came over here. This guy is 50 some years old. He's been wrestling since the early 90s and he still can kick people's asses. Minoru Suzuki is legitimately one of the guys in the locker room that you don't want to piss off. This 50-year-old guy will kick your ass and leave you wondering what the hell just hit you. Um, but yeah, so that whole thing it's still going. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes if they continue to improve on that, especially with New Japan coming over now, and they're going to be doing more shows in the United States because Japan is lifting their lockdowns little by little by little by little by little. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Japan were the ones that had their guys touring the country before anybody else did. They had New Japan was touring Japan before anybody in the United States was back on the road doing shows. They were doing they've been doing it since they went back on the air with their wrestling because they don't have the TV studios over there and whatnot that they were basing things out of. They were doing road shows. They've been doing road shows since they came back off of their hiatus. When the whole COVID thing broke and Japan shut everything down, New Japan shut down for I think it was 2 months, and as soon as they came back, they weren't doing the stationary make a show in one location and broadcast that out over your network or what have you. Which New Japan is all online. Every so often, you may see a New Japan show on TV over in Japan. Otherwise, if you want to watch New Japan, it's like in the United States. You got to have their network.
Did
So
you say you can't even watch it in Japan?
yeah, they don't have a TV contract. They only the occasional big show gets on regular television over in Japan for New Japan. It's all online on New Japan World over there.
Is it free?
No, it's 999 yen a month,
That sounds
which
expensive.
except for when you do the conversion and it comes out to like $9.90 a month. That's the U.S. dollar is worth a lot more than what the yen is.
How much? How much programming do you get in 7 days?
Um, I can show you.
This is like a perfect spot to talk about the transition from, to lack of a better term, terrestrial television to TV by order or internet television.
Right. Okay. You see this? I am on their streaming site. All of this stuff is recent within the last week. And that's not even all of it.
So do you watch this stuff live or is it all just videos?
You can watch it live or you can watch it in replay. Like here's the most recent English stuff down here. This is all in the last week.
Now, what does it mean in English? What's that mean?
It means it's in English. It has English commentary.
So it's not like subtitles or dubbed or
No,
anything. It's just you hear the Americans speak.
yeah, they have an American and a Japanese broadcast. You can watch it in Japanese if you want. You can watch it in English if you want. Now, some of the shows you do since the pandemic, you do have to wait for the English commentary because they'll go. The English commenters can't always be in Japan or be able to do it when the shows are because you got to figure these shows will take place like 3 o'clock in the morning here. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to wait like a day for the English commentary to get it put up. But as soon as they get it recorded and uploaded over to Japan, the production team over in Japan gets it on there and you can watch it in English without having to listen to the Japanese announce teams or anything.
They can't find any people in Japan that can speak English.
There are people in Japan that speak English, yes,
We
but
kidding?
they have their announce team under contract.
Mm,
New Japan works by contract.
yeah.
So, and a lot of the English speaking people that work in New Japan actually live in the United States.
So would these people be considered internet pioneers?
New Japan has definitely pioneered the online wrestling thing. They had this before the WWE network was even a dream in Vince McMahon's head.
And you can't get it on television anywhere. You have to watch this stuff online.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, they used you used to be able to watch New Japan replays of different events on Access TV, AXS TV.
Is it pay television?
That's cable.
Cable, okay.
Yeah, it's a cable network.
Okay.
But their contract with them ran out and they weren't able to get that contract renewed. So New Japan instead has a contract with Roku, which Roku is what? Internet. So if you watch New Japan, you're watching it on some internet service. You're watching it on Roku, which you're not going to get the latest show the week that it aired like you would if you had New Japan World, which is what
So
this
in
is.
like in 10 years when people are trying to figure out what they're supposed to do with this 86-inch flat screen that they stapled to their wall 10 years ago because they watch all their television on their watch now, are these guys going to be like the OGs of internet television?
Yeah, yeah, they legitimately are.
And I separate it because I mean, obviously, there's like G Webs who's been on the internet since it opened, posting stuff, but that's not, he doesn't do a television show.
Okay, say it again. I didn't catch you. So,
G Webs doesn't do TV on the internet. So
no,
even though he's been on the internet for a long time, these guys are doing a television show on the internet.
multiple television shows on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, every one of their arena shows, they have like little things here, which is like a talk show where they talk about stuff. Then they have like their ranking shows where they rank different things that have happened over the last month, week, what have you. Then you got you got different series that they do about things that they've done, and you got as you can see, like you got different shows. You got New Japan Strong. You got the TV show. I have no idea what the TV show is. I don't read Japanese. Then they got CMLL stuff, which is a Mexican promotion, and then they even throw AEW and Impact stuff up here on their network. So if you go over here to the AEW tab, these are matches that AEW guys took on New Japan guys. They got those. They put those on here.
I imagine that the convenience. Like if you're only a fan of English commentary, it doesn't say any of their names. If you're only a fan of Paul Orndorff and you don't feel like sitting through 2.5 hours of wrestling to see his match, if you can just pull it up on the internet and watch his match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they will take like the highlight matches of the week, and they will throw up just a match on here. If you just wanted to watch that match, it'll be on here individually. You can go and just watch that match. And like their backstage commentary, when you're watching a New Japan show, you don't get promos and stuff on the show itself hardly at all. Your promos are all going to be on here as in the backstage commentary section. So if you don't want to watch Zack Saber's uh, promo, you can skip it if you don't give a shit about what he was saying. You can go over here instead and you can watch these guys, or you can watch this guy.
What
And
about
that's
commercials?
no commercials.
See, that's where satellite radio has failed. They they might have come out too early, but they couldn't get beyond the selling airtime for commercials. Ad revenue just it,
No commercials on our satellite radio. We don't get any commercials.
no, I'm talking on the comedy shows, on any of the talk
Oh,
shows,
that's
the
yeah,
news
but that
shows.
those are the show sponsors themselves. That's not the same. So that's not the satellite network that's selling those that commercial airtime. That's whoever's doing the show. Like Howard Stern. If you're listening to Howard Stern on Sirius XM and you get a commercial, that's Howard Stern that's selling that commercial airtime, not Sirius XM. You get that on all of those kind of things.
Howard Stern doesn't peddle toothpaste and different
Yeah,
stuff.
he does. He
No, that's
actually
what I'm
does.
saying. It's not Howard Stern mixing up toothpaste in his bathtub and putting it in a tube
No,
and
but he's
selling
the
it for
one that's
press.
getting he's the one that is getting the money from having that Crest commercial on his show. So the satellite radio company itself isn't the ones getting that commercial. If you listen to all the music channels, there's no commercials. The satellite radio company is not the one selling that commercial airtime. If
I
you
had,
listen,
I
if
know, I know. You're out of your mind if you don't think that Sirius XM is getting a cut of those radio ads.
they're not, they're not getting all their money comes from subscribership. They're not getting any of that commercial money.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
That's the way it works with any of
Commercials
those.
still screwed up satellite radio. I had
Uh,
satellite radio for like 10 years, and there's just the exact same nonsense on the regular radio.
Only
Only
when you're
difference
talking
is,
about the only on the talk show circuit. If you listen to the
and
music channels,
all the music is the same top 10 garbage.
no, it's not. If you go like
All
Ozzy's
right,
Boneyard
all
and
right, all
stuff,
right.
it's all
Never mind,
it,
dude. Never mind. Forget it.
no Ozzy's
Look,
Bone. If you listen to if you listen to the pop channels, yeah, it's all going to be the same top 10 garbage. But if you go into the other channels like Ozzy's Boneyard, Classic Rewind, Classic Vinyl, it's all classic rock stuff. There
yeah,
is none of that new
and
garbage, and there's a
you can turn
big
on
variety
you can
on
turn
those
on.
channels.
I don't know if you get 100 points. I don't know if you get the same, because you can turn on two or three stations around here and hear all the same classic rock songs.
No, they play stuff on the on Sirius XM that they can't play on the regular channels because of the FCC.
All right, never mind, man. I had a 10-year long delusion with the little box I had. So
Yeah,
never
it's not the same as what it used to be. They'll play song literally. They play songs like on Ozzy's Boneyard that they couldn't. And what's the other one? The Octane that they can't play on radio because of the language and stuff in the songs. And if they do play it on the regular radio, it's highly censored. Perfect example is Crazy Bitch. They play that uncensored on Octane. They could never do that on regular radio.
I should just start calling every radio station requesting that song. take like a week's vacation and get 2 or 3 phones dialing at one time.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Anyway, this is what for those of you who have never seen what New Japan World looks like. That's what this is. And yes, I am paying $9 and roughly 90 cents a month for it, but it's worth it. I mean, you get a lot of content on here. This is the most wrestling content that you will find on any network, other than maybe the WWE network. But you can't get the WWE network in the United States or Canada anymore. You got to have Peacock, and Peacock doesn't have half the content that the WWE network does, or the WWE network doesn't have half the goddamn technical issues that Peacock has either.
wait a second. You say you can't get the WWE network in America?
Nope.
So, an American company with all American employees that wrestle almost solely in the lower 48 states of the continental United States of America, and you can't get their internet?
Nope. It, the WWE network is international only, excluding Canada. If you're in Canada or the United States, you cannot, using an American or Canadian IP address, get the WWE network anymore. You have to get your WWE content if you're in those two countries through Peacock. And as we have seen, Peacock sucks.
So would it Peacock sweep through and like buy up all the rights and just say, "Hey, we're gonna capitalize on all this"?
It's
Like,
part
how
of
did that stupid idea come about?
it's part of WWE's latest contract with NBC Universal.
So they thought they were gonna be slick and corner the market, and it just blew up in their face.
Peacock's not ready. Peacock wasn't ready to do live stream, and it's totally fucked everything up. And they're still transferring things over. And another another thing that hurts with Peacock, when it was on WWE Network, right? Because they got all the old WCW Saturday nights and everything on there. Remember how WCW Saturday night was 2 hours long? Some of
Mm.
the episodes on Peacock are a half hour. They have cut them so badly. It's unreal. I know that from watching Tony Schiavone's podcast because they take an episode, they do an episode a week on his podcast where they go back and they look at the episode. Right now, they're, I think, in November of '86. They had just finished up the whole thing where Magnum TA had his automobile accident and everything in October of '86. I think that they're leading up into the um, Starcade of '86 now, where they had the scaffold match between the Road Warriors and the Midnight Express. Some of these shows that they're going back and watching is blowing Tony Schiavone's mind. He's like, I know that was a 2 hour show because the show is like half hour or 45 minutes on Peacock. He's like, we didn't have that many goddamn commercials. When you watched it on WWE Network, it would have been the full 2 hour show, minus commercials, obviously.
But that's what I mean. If you're cutting a 2 hour show into a half an hour, like Hogan's Heroes has got 22 minutes of runtime,
Mm-hmm.
and I can fast forwarding it on fast forward with 3 between the commercials. I can watch an episode in like 9 minutes.
Yep,
So isn't that a good thing that they're cutting out all of the rest of the crap and just giving you the meat of the stuff?
because they're not giving you all the meat. There are promos and stuff that Tony Schiavone said, you got to watch this promo that's coming up. And when they get to where that promo should be, it's not there.
Well, promo is a fancy word for commercial.
No, promos where you had the guys standing at the desk talking to Tony Schiavone or David Crockett. Promos just anytime you're is just the voice segments in wrestling.
Okay, so we've been referring to that as on the mic.
Yeah. Anything
So
that's on
okay,
the
so
mic
that's
is
what
a
a
promo.
promo is. When Dusty Rose is standing there at the with the backdrop and the Mean Gene's got the mic in his mouth and he's talking about kicking somebody's butt, that's a promo.
That's an interview promo, yes.
Okay, I got you now. Yeah,
And
those
then you have
you gotta have those, especially
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah. And then you got the other type of promo where it's the guys in the ring with the microphone talking. That kind of stuff is cut out of these episodes. There'll be matches that will be cut out of it because they'll be talking about how you see how badly he beats this guy in this next match coming up, and the match isn't there because Peacock has cut it out.
I don't know. I think I might like the backstage off the ring, old school at the little podium promos better than in the ring. I think in the ring turned it into a lot of soap opera.
Well, it's you had that with the other two. God, watching both Arn Anderson's podcast and Tony Schiavone's podcast, some of the promos that like Ric Flair and people were cutting back then, they couldn't do today. Like I was watching one. It was Rick Rude and Manny Fernandez, and they were cutting a promo on Wahoo McDaniels. You remember the Indian guy that always came out with the big headdress? They were calling him things like Squahoo and stuff. You couldn't do that today. You would get fined by the FCC if you did that today.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are supposed to be kind of spicy.
Yeah.
One of them came up in my feed, and since YouTube's probably listening to us, I'm sure another one will be up in my feed later tonight. But I can't. Booker T called somebody the N bomb, or
Oh yeah. Booker T called Hulk Hogan the N word.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I
Yeah.
had to watch it 3 times. I was like, I didn't even see it. What happened?
Yeah. Booker T was just going off on one of those promo type things, and he dropped the N word in reference to Hulk Hogan. And back then, nobody batted an eye.
Didn't somebody call Junkyard Dog a black bastard?
It's entirely possible.
I can't remember it.
I, when I said Squahoo, that was mild compared to what they were calling him in that promo. So if somebody called Junkyard Dog a black bastard, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised back then.
I might have just made that up, but I
No,
think
no,
I've
no.
heard
It
something close to that.
it probably happened. I would not discount it one bit. In the '80s, nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared back then. We didn't have all this political correctness run amok like we have now. Nobody cared. A perfect example is the Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude promo I was just talking about. Nobody gave a shit back then.
I don't think anybody cares now. I think most people are just afraid of the people who are pretending like they care.
Well, that means that somebody cares because if they care enough that they're worried about what somebody else is going to say, they care because they're scared.
No, some fat blue haired chick with a bunch of steel sticking up her nose is gonna bring 13 of her smelly friends and protest outside your boss's house until you get fired.
Yeah,
And they don't really care. There's just time to get outraged. Okay.
yeah, yeah. MKJ says, don't forget Jesse's Chico Santana. Yeah, he was always calling him Chico. Manny Fernandez. You know what his finisher was?
I don't even know who that is.
He was one of the guys in um, Mid Atlantic. He was one of the Turner guys. The NWA.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, his finisher. And at one point, Tito Santana also called his finisher this. It was the flying burrito. You know how people would? There are people today that would throw a fit if a wrestler had a move called the flying burrito.
Yokozuna stuffed his butt cheeks in your face.
Yeah. Well, no, Yokozuna would sit on you. But
Who
that
was
was
the guy?
Yoko's.
Who was
That
the
was
guy that rubbed his butt in your face?
that was Rikishi.
Rikishi.
Yeah. Yokozuna's finisher was that he would just sit on you. I mean, literally, he would get you out down on the mat. He'd pick you up, body slam you, and then he would sit on you. And that was it. That was the end of the Yokozuna match. because he was supposed to weigh so much nobody could kick out if he just sat on him. So that's exact. He would just like drop down on you, and that was the end of it. It was a butt drop essentially. He sat on you.
Remember, like, Gorgeous George would come out. And there was another guy that was always spraying mist in his hair and fluffing his hair and talking about how good looking and sexy they were.
Yeah, Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah, yeah. What wasn't that? Oh, yeah, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was that? Yeah,
gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, and he had Precious with him,
yeah,
and she was hot. God, looking back at some of the promos when he comes out, and he's got her with him.
yeah.
Whew. You know, everybody always was talking about how hot Baby Doll was back then. I never thought Baby Doll was that good looking. Precious was hot as hell.
No, I mean, what's her face? Elizabeth was probably has to be top two, if not the
Well,
best.
top two, Elizabeth and Precious by far. The two of them, they were both of those women were just smoking,
Yeah, Elizabeth. Beautiful.
but in different ways. Elizabeth was the girl that you would take home to meet mommy and daddy. Precious was the one you didn't want to take home and meet mommy and daddy.
Elizabeth is the type of girl that you met. Like you're sitting around telling your friends, "Oh, it's so funny. We were in the produce aisle of the supermarket, and I reached over to grab the bananas, and so did she. And we fell in love."
Yeah, Precious is the chick you picked up in the bar the night before.
Yeah. And you were calling her Precious because you thought her real name was something else, and you just couldn't remember. But the truth is, her real name is Precious.
Yeah, how did we get on that topic? It's the world of professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, particularly in the '80s.
Wrestling is multifaceted.
Yep. Now, according to Arn Anderson, you didn't want to fuck with Baby Doll. He said that woman was cock strong and would kick your ass. His words, not mine. She was just cock strong and she would kick your ass. that came that is verbatim out of Arn's mouth on one of his podcast episodes. Apparently, she was a former wrestler herself, and the reason why you always saw her wearing the loose clothes and everything because apparently she was fit, shall we say, and they didn't want that image for her, so they had her wearing the loose clothes so that you could see somewhat curves, but not the musculature. You know what I mean? They were trying to soften her image, I guess, if you wanted to call it that.
I imagine the old school ladies of wrestling were either not to be messed with or real, probably in need of some psychiatric. Yeah, they were
Uh-huh.
probably abused pretty bad.
You know why Moolah is persona non grata now, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
She was a madam selling out the female wrestlers to male promoters, male
Yeah,
superstars that they were trying to sign. She was whoring out the female performers.
I think you told me about that before.
Yeah, that's why Moolah is persona non grata. Once all that broke, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago they were going to do the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania. They had a statue and everything with her on it, and then the story about her broke, and that all went away real quick. So yeah, Moolah was not a good person.
Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like because it's not like the female performers were wanting to do this; she was forcing them to do it. If you didn't do what Mula said, she would kick your ass, or she would have somebody kick your ass for her.
Yeah, but it's you think, oh, it's impossible. How could that even happen? But it's really not as hard as you think to
No,
get into a position like
and whether or not Vincent Kennedy Sr. or Vincent Kennedy Sr.'s dad knew any of that was going on is a subject for debate. Some people say yes, some people say no. So now, obviously, this was not going on under Vincent Kennedy McMahon, or the current Vince McMahon, but it was going on under his father's and his grandfather's watch.
that. I wouldn't want to have a company like that, man. Like, I don't have that desire for money and fame and power like that. But I wouldn't. The thought of having thousands of employees and managers for managers for managers for managers. Oh man, it sounds terrifying. Because
Here's the thing.
some guy in the mailroom is going to cut somebody's head off, and they're going to be like, "I can't believe Rich White hired somebody that would cut somebody's head off."
Here's the thing with WWE. They do not have as big a staff as you would think they would. It's crazy. Their like office building and stuff in Connecticut isn't that big. Their production staff is not that big. You're talking a couple hundred people that work in their office building. You're talking a couple hundred people that are in their production staff. It is not that big a company. By all measures, WWE is a small business, except for the profit side of it. It's crazy when you actually break it down and think of it. Because if you stop and remember, with WWE, their wrestlers are not on their employment roll because they're independent contractors the way their contracts are structured. The only ones that actually work for WWE are the production guys and the guys that work in the office as actual employees.
Yeah, but when Hulk Hogan gets drunk and crashes a Ferrari into some fountain somewhere, it's still going to fall back on the company. There's still a whole lot of people to have to watch out for. So,
Not really. If you because things like no, that kind of stuff's happened before. Look at when Iron Sheik and Jim Duggan got busted smoking pot and having drugs in the car, or Rob Van Dam. None of that came back to hurt WWE in any way, shape, or form. That just water
every
off their
time,
back.
every time one of those heroes from the NFL gets up off their knees and punches their girlfriend in the face,
That's a
everybody looks at
totally
Roger
different
Goodell
situation.
and
Yeah,
says, "I can't believe that you'd have somebody like this on
yeah,
your."
it's a totally different situation because the way contracts and stuff are structured. It's mind boggling, but yeah, it's not. It doesn't rise in WWE when somebody does something like that. It does not rise to the same level as if somebody in Major League Baseball, the NFL, hockey, the NBA, or something did something like that. It's crazy if you think about it, but that it for some reason with wrestling, that stuff does not come back to bite the federation or the promotions.
I'll be
I
all
don't
right.
know if it's because people don't see wrestling as a real sport, if they just expect wrestlers to be crazy. I don't know what it is, but whenever something like that happens and it's a wrestler involved, the one exception is Chris Benoit, but that's because Chris Benoit is the only one that went out and murdered his family.
Oh, also the steroid thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't the steroids; it was the concussion issue with Benoit.
Well, I'm talking about the concussion thing and the steroid thing. They're looking at Vince McMahon saying, "Look at the people you got working for you."
Yeah, but But
My whole point is,
even the concussion thing didn't come back and hit WWE the way it has the NFL.
yeah, I'm not going to do none of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying I want to go out there and get a major concussion working for WWE,
No, I'm
but
saying I
if
don't
you
want
look
to
at the
have
law,
that many people.
if you look at the lawsuits that the NFL has faced because of the concussion situation, WWE hasn't faced any of that. Why? Because of the way the contracts are structured. It's crazy, but that's why WWE puts them down as being independent contractors, because then they are not as liable as they would be if they were contracted as a full time employee like they are with the NFL teams. It's crazy, but that's the way it works.
I'm not taking a chance. Is my whole point.
Oh, I know what your point is. I was just talking. I was just going back to what originally got us down that rabbit hole. That's why Vince McMahon structures the contract to where they're independent contractors, not employees, because it removes some of his liability and WWE's liability.
You figure if they're coming as contractors like that, they should have more control over their merchandising.
Nope, that's all signed off in their contract.
Uh, This,
It's all the way. It's the way WWE structures their contracts, man. You
well,
sign away, and
think back
that's why
to
Vince comes up with their names and copyrights their names so that they don't get any of the claims. They get a portion of the proceeds from the merch sales. Don't get me wrong,
yeah, but
but
when they leave,
they don't get as much as what you would in AEW from merch sales.
plus they can't take their name with them. They can't take their character. But look back in the music industry.
Well, it depends on who it is. You
Back
got
when back when they realized that they could sell CDs to a bunch of people, or tapes to a bunch of people, or records to a bunch of people, the record companies got together and offered you, here's $1 million, and then we own everything else, and we're all this other, you know how
Mhm.
the fast money contracts were back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Now, I mean, not even now, but like 10, 15 years ago, a lot of these people started going independent. Now it's almost better to go independent, like just open a YouTube channel and go for it. But people who do get under contract, whether it's even in TV, you get a lot of residual pay and all these other kinds of different things because people have learned over the time how not to get screwed by these contracts. And you'd figure, you know, uh, Brock Lesnar is going to go in with the name Axe Chopper Duggan and be able to leave with it because he's smarter now. But apparently,
No, wrestling. Honest to God, wrestling. The wrestlers have gotten dumber in some aspects. If you look back during the
seems that
territory
way.
days, yeah, if you look back during the territory days, the wrestlers earned their names, and they got 100% of the merch sales because their merch they had done themselves. WWE wrestlers are stupid. I'm sorry, but WWE wrestlers are some of the worst people for managing their own careers that you would ever see in the wrestling business. They don't get all their merch sales like they would have in the past. They don't get to keep their name for a large part because Vince McMahon gives them a fake name that he came up with. They lose out on everything that the guys were making money with back in the old days, which is why you get a lot of guys that won't sign with WWE. You got like the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody was there. He was in WWE. He knows what that shit's like already. Adam Page, those guys, they all refuse to sign with WWE. They would rather go out and try and start their own company than sign with WWE because WWE contracts are that damn bad.
Well, plus they could also, if Sheamus goes to AEW, he could be a giant fish in a big pond, as opposed to when you go to WWE, you can be a big fish in a giant pond, and this giant pond that you're in is just a holding pond. you might get let out of it someday. Where I would think, I'm going to take my fame and my fandom over to this other company, and I'll be the top dog over there, as opposed to just being some mid-level guy that the people like.
Well, part of the WWE problem is when AEW was founded, and this is why you see the mass releases during yeah, we got to go back to the COVID thing, but why you see the mass releases from WWE during the COVID. WWE was going and signing up anybody they could just so AEW couldn't sign them.
Yeah, to me that makes it sound like Vince isn't as good of a businessman as he's supposed to be.
Well, he was trying to keep these guys who are big on the independents out of AEW.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's like that's
It's
not good
petty.
business practice. Like
No, it's
that's
not. No,
you know
it's
what I
not.
mean? Like you don't think that's a good idea, right?
No, I don't think that's a good idea. If you look back in the 80s and 90s, Vince wouldn't have done that. Vince McMahon now is not the guy that he used to be. He's getting older, and age might be starting to creep up on him. You know what I mean? His
Yeah,
age is starting to affect his decisions.
I didn't really
Nobody's
take
going to
that.
convince me otherwise on that.
I didn't take that into consideration at all. I'm still thinking of you're fired, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, you got to remember, Vince is in his 70s now, nearing 80. I mean, the guy is not a. This isn't the Vince McMahon from the 70s. I mean, not, well, yeah, even the 70s, because he took over, I think, in the late 70s from his
So if
dad,
he gets abducted by aliens during this conversation, who takes over, Sean or Triple H?
Triple H. Shane's not even employed by the company anymore. Shane sold all his stock and he got out of WWE as a part owner years ago, and he went over and was working at a financial company over in China with
So is he
on
beefing?
mineral rights and stuff to
If he
get mineral rights for U.S. companies.
is he beefing with Vince, or is he just not in the business anymore?
He's just not in the business anymore.
Okay. Good for him.
Yeah, he came back because his dad wanted him to come back and do something. He left because him and his dad got into it, so he sold all his stock and everything. He's like, I just don't want anything to do with this. He came back for a couple years because his dad came back and asked him to do something with like the Undertaker and then something else, and because the Undertaker was on his way down, and so because Shane respects Mark Calloway, who is the Undertaker, he came back and agreed to do that. And then his dad had him where he did a couple other things with some other guys to try and like get them over and stuff like that. So when that was all done, after I think it was WrestleMania, he said, "Yeah, I'm done now," and he walked away again.
Now that I think about it, screw Shane McMahon. Work with the commies, and he can go to hell.
Well, he was working on behalf of U.S. companies
Well, even worse.
to get them mineral rights at the only place where those minerals exist is in China.
What's
A
the
lot of the
difference?
heavy minerals that you use, that are used in manufacturing stuff, the only place you can get them in the world is in China.
What's the difference between American companies and communists?
The American companies don't have access to those minerals unless they deal with the communists. It's the only way you can get them.
Okay, I agree, but I'm saying he's working for an American company. Translate to me that he's working for commies.
Got to get those minerals to make the things that we need somehow. And that's the only way you can do it. It's a that's called a necessary evil.
No, I get it. I get it. You like working with the commies.
No, I don't like working with the. I'm not saying I like working with the commies, but sometimes in
You
business,
heard him, MKJ. We gotta watch him.
no. What I'm saying is sometimes in business you gotta shake hands with the devil to get the job done that you need to do. It's just the way it works. It's the nature of the beast.
I get it.
It's,
I say it all the time that we wouldn't be sitting here on the internet talking trash about the commies if we didn't have an interventionist military that belonged to the UN. I don't really say that all the time, but I should say it all the time. Some military base in Morocco right now is why we can sit here on the internet.
I wonder if there are any military bases in Morocco, except
Oh,
other than
my
Morocco.
internet connection's getting bad as we're talking.
I don't know if the U.S. Honestly, I think Africa may be the only place in the world the U.S. does not have a permanent military installation. How's that for crazy?
Yeah, I
Every
can't.
other continent, there is some form of permanent military installation owned by the United States.
Yeah, I don't think the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt is messing with us. Hillary Clinton destroyed Libya. Uh, Nothing south, and no, you don't want to mess with none of it south of Egypt or Libya.
Well, you go. Let's be perfectly honest. You get below the Saharan desert, there's not a country in Africa that's really a threat to the United States.
Yeah, but I mean,
And the only reason why the Saharan countries are is because of terrorists.
yeah, the sub-Saharan ones are all a threat to human life.
In that area. They're the ones that founded the African slave trade and everything. Even though people want to change history on that.
You'd probably be better smack dab in the middle of the desert, actually.
Yeah, the only other country in South Africa is South Africa that has any kind of modern military really in Africa.
Yeah, and that modern military spends all day cutting Whitey's hands off.
No, no, that's the gangs. Do you
Oh,
think
oh yeah,
Chicago has a gang
that's right.
problem?
That's right. After the gang cuts your hands off, the military seizes your farm.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, you think Chicago has a gang problem? Good God, Chicago's got nothing on South Africa. If you've ever seen the videos coming out of that place, holy shit!
Mystics here.
Hey, Stacy, what else we got to talk about? Hmm.
When are you gonna do another history video?
I have, dude, that one was made years ago. That video is 2015, 2016. That video is like 5 years old. That was the week before Christmas, I think. I don't have any more of those. That was the only one of those I did. The other video that I had to do for a speech for that class was defending the Second Amendment. I haven't put that one up. I haven't made that one public. At least not on the Unloaded Media channel. I think it might be public on my private channel, which really isn't private either because it's the channel. It's the name I use on all the goddamn other shows I go on. But yeah, I think that video might be public on my Rich White channel, but I don't think I ever uploaded that one to the Unloaded Media channel. And then I got the introduction video I made too. That I don't know if I don't think I put that one on the Unloaded Media channel either. But I should this weekend because I tell a ghost story in it too. So I may put that one up tomorrow. With tomorrow being Halloween, I might go ahead and upload that one. Really creepy thing that happened to a friend of mine as we were walking through a park in Pittsburgh.
Are you gonna have trick or treating?
They're doing trick or treat, yeah, but nobody trick or treats here. They all trick or treat in town or up on in the housing development where the homeowner association areas and stuff. Here at the housing complex we live in now, nobody trick or treats here because of being off the main highway. and there's no parking or anything for that many people, so nobody comes in here to trick or treat.
No, like people that live in the other houses.
Well, there's kids here that have little kids, but dude, they take them elsewhere to trick or treat.
Right.
Yeah, we've the 3 years we've been living here, we have never had anybody come to our house, come to our door, trick or treat. So our son bought candy the one year, and nobody came to trick or treat. He was so disappointed because he was off on Halloween. He was dressed in his Ghostbusters outfit, and he was waiting that by the door with the bowl of candy. Nobody came. He was so disappointed. Figure something out to do tomorrow too, or the show with it being Halloween. I had some serious topics, but gotta do something Halloweeny tomorrow, right?
You can give out candy.
You just want candy. That's all this is.
I got some candy. That's the Girl Scout stuff I got from Guns and Barbecue came in, so I've been eating on that and making myself sick.
What did you order from them?
Uh, I got the chocolate covered raisins. These are like big raisins. It's not like the little Raisinets box.
Hmm.
And then these teddy bears that are chocolate with peanut butter.
Oh man, those are good. My daughter ordered those.
Yeah,
She
it's
ordered.
real like whipped peanut butter, like you put
Uh
on
huh.
a sandwich.
Those are awesome. Those
Yeah.
teddy bears were awesome. They didn't last long either.
No,
That's one of those candies where you eat one, then you eat another, then you eat another. Next thing you know, the box is empty. It's like,
yeah, I had to put the box away a couple times. I mean, I tried to make it last, but it didn't work.
no. The other thing that she ordered was the cranberry nut mix because she likes cranberries, and you can never find any of that kind of stuff. If you do, it's going to be around Christmas. You know what I mean? So when she saw that on there, she was like, "I'm getting that." It's basically like a trail mix with cranberries in it, mixed nuts and trail mix kind of thing. Yeah, those teddy bears were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Guns and Barbecue emailed certain people and then asked certain people to forward the email to other people where his daughter was selling Girl Scout stuff. They were doing like different candies and magazine subscriptions. Didn't have the money at the time, but my daughter did, so she ordered some stuff. It was bad timing because when he sent that email out, it's about the same time we were getting ready to foreclose on the house, or not foreclose on the house, close on the house. So we every penny we had basically was going into that. Didn't
When are you
have.
moving?
When are we moving? We're still working on the painting and some minor repair stuff. Nothing major, but with my wife's work schedule, it's slow going. You know what I mean? She works 12 hours a day, and she has like a 45-minute drive to get to work and back. So, figuring all told, she's working 13 hours. You know what I mean? So it's been. She did a. We went down and did some today. Done a little bit after she gets off work. Nothing major. Maybe like put a coat of paint on a room and then call it a night because she's just exhausted by that point. Yeah, not my not being able to drive is putting a damper on shit. You know what I mean?
Can't one of your kids take you over there?
No, because they're all working. That's it's their work schedules and stuff, they all work day.
Ride a bike. Get a skateboard.
After what happened, just trying to go to a damn state park, you want me to ride a bike? Are you out of your
Get
goddamn
those,
mind?
get those roller skis like the
Uh,
cross country people practice on.
uh-huh. You forget what road I would have to go on. You've been on that road.
You get run over pulling out of your driveway.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You've been here.
Hey, you, if you made it a foot out of your driveway without getting hit by a car, then you were successful.
Uh-huh. That's what I'm saying, man. You've been here, and you're saying ride a bike. Like that's safe. You have a better chance of risking getting a concussion in WWE than you do making it out of the driveway here with on a bike. Come on. I mean, if I was going towards Walmart, I could get there on a bike. Coming back this way, no, that ain't gonna work.
I mean, you could ride a bike. You could ride a bike to my house. The You just have to get as much inertia when you're going downhill as possible.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's no real hill here to build up speed to try and get across that road real fast. And if you do, you're liable to end up in the creek on the other side before you get a chance to stop.
You played Grand Theft Auto. You gotta find the ramps.
No, I've never played Grand Theft Auto.
You played Tony Hawk's skateboard.
Nope,
You played what's the snowboard game?
nope. I was never into those kind of games. The closest I've played to um, Grand Theft Auto would probably be The Simpsons Hit and Run.
What's Paul White?
Paul White, Big Show,
What's 3-0?
3-0. He's 3-0 in AEW.
Oh, is he wrestling again?
Yeah, he does commentary and wrestles occasionally. He's had 3 matches.
Can he still do it? Or I didn't
Yeah,
think he was much of a wrestler in the first place.
yeah. He just does the big guy comes in, gets hit a couple times by the little guy, smacks the little guy around, picks him up, choke slam, boom, done, kind of thing. Obnoxious, you were the first at 10:41 p.m.
I saw it. I mean, it says it right there first.
Yeah,
You
first.
call him alive?
No, he at 10:41 p.m. he was the first one to say anything. So he is first at 10:41. He didn't say when he was first, just that he was first. So I'm saying he was first at that particular time stamp.
So what do they call him now? They call him Paul White now?
Yeah, they call him by his name. He just uses his real name. You figure Vince owns both of his other aliases.
I know it was the Big Show.
Big Show and the Giant.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah, that was in WCW. No, you don't remember him in the monster truck match versus Hulk Hogan on top of a building, where Hogan threw him off the building, but yet he was still there later to beat Hogan for the WCW Championship in his very first match. And Obnoxious says this kills me, but technically Rich is correct.
Well, if you could actually look at it like this, Opie, you're not really. It's not really Rich that was correct. It was actually you that were correct.
Well, I was correct in stating when he was
Now you
correct.
were just agreeing with him, which
Yeah,
could
that's
be
what
a
I'm saying.
problem.
Which means I was right too. So
Well, I
he's
mean,
right. I was right.
yeah, 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 technically he was right first. Once again, first.
That is of absolutely no consequence. The fact of the matter is, we were both right.
Yeah, but he even said it right there. It's imprint on the internet forever first.
Yeah, and nobody argued that point. I just
He was,
clarified when he was first.
so he was right.
And all I did was clarified when he was first.
So
So,
technically, you just agreed with him.
and was right in doing so. So yeah, we were both. So obnoxious again at 10:42 was correct. See, see how this works? Good.
So two rights to make right, or two
Oh yeah,
first makes a right.
and two wrongs don't make a right. Wait, what? I had to do that for the YouTube algorithms. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was a China joke.
I'd say something for the algorithm, but this isn't my channel.
Yeah, please don't. I mean, it's bad enough that that I have called a certain wrestler a gay slur on this channel before.
Hey man, it is what it is.
That was in the middle of WrestleMania, by the way.
He'll be all right. When you run for president in a couple years, we'll bring it up.
Uh-huh. If I ever decide to run for Congress, oh, that's going to bite me in the ass. What else has been going on? Tony Schiavone now has 2 tattoos.
Let me guess. One of them is of a banana, and the other one is Dusty Rose.
Nope. Wrong on both counts.
One of them's the name of his wife, and the other one's like a dagger.
You were in the ballpark with wife, but it's not his wife.
Daughter,
Nope.
boyfriend,
Nope.
second uncle on his mother's side, twice removed from Aunt Helen, whose roommate was my brother's sister's cousin's nephew's uncle's aunt.
No.
Okay, I give up.
The first one is of his dog, Bug, who is a Chihuahua.
Stupid.
It's his dog's face inside of a heart with Bug written below it. That is on his left arm. On
Like
his right,
like
on his
bicep or forcep.
shoulder area.
Okay.
On his right shoulder area, he did a Braun Strowman and has the Superman logo.
Wait a minute. Time out. On his what? On his other what?
Shoulder. His other shoulder.
He got another man's face tattooed on him?
No, no, he has the Superman logo.
Oh, okay. I thought he
Just
was
like I said, no, I said he did like Braun Strowman did, and he has the Superman logo.
Oh, I thought you were saying that he got Braun Strowman tattooed on
No,
him.
no,
Like,
no, no,
that's a little I got Jerry Garcia tattooed on my back, but the guy was dead a year after I did it.
no. He's got the
Actually, it was
Superman
only
logo,
once.
and he said that he's planning to get another one, and it'll probably be the Batman logo, but he's not saying where.
He's got to
He's
get it in the
revealed
middle of
these
his
things
chest.
on his podcast.
I mean, if he's real, he's gonna get it in the middle of his chest.
Oh, he should have done that with the Superman logo.
Yes. S stands for hope, where Superman's from.
No, no, because he didn't. Because of copyright and everything, they were making a joke that is the Schiavone family crest.
Wow. I don't know if you ever watched those like superhero parodies on YouTube with like Batman and Superman and stuff like that. They're pretty funny.
Conrad Thompson, who is his co-host and corporate sponsor for the podcast, I might add, his mortgage company, and who is Ric Flair's son-in-law, married to Flair's oldest daughter. His reaction when Shivani showed him the Superman tattoo was priceless.
Why would you get something stupid like that? Why wouldn't you get something
Because
original?
he's
Hey,
because Tony Schiavone is a huge baseball and comics book fan.
yeah, I know. I mean, if you're a huge comic book fan and you're 50 years old and you've had
You go a little bit
years,
higher
you're 60 years old, why wouldn't you? I mean, why would you go with something as milk toast as the Superman tattoo?
because he really likes Superman and he really likes Batman. And
Yeah,
like
but
I
he could
said,
have got. I mean, he could have got Action Comics #1.
I
Hey,
don't know. You'd have to ask Shivani, man. I
get him
don't
on
know what's
the phone.
going through the
Get him on
man's
the
head.
phone. Get him on the phone.
I don't have his number. And besides, if you did, he texts you bad words all the time. Everybody that has Tony Schiavone's phone number, or Schiavone has their phone number, they've all said the same thing. They would get a random text from Tony Schiavone calling them a motherfucker or something else. Everybody has said this. It's like his practical joke is to text you a bad word, like right in the middle of a business meeting or something, trying to get you to crack up.
Now I can take pictures of his tattoo and say, "Look what I did," and then they can bust out laughing at how stupid he is. So, well, come on, man. I'm disappointed. You gotta send him an email and tell him to get something cool and original.
Well, if you look at the room that he does his side of the podcast from, his home studio, he's got like Batman shit on the walls, Superman shit on the walls. He is a huge Superman and Batman fan.
Yeah, I'm not knocking him for that. That's fine. That's cool. But if you're that huge of a fan, you could have probably did something besides the most boring thing possible.
I don't know. I don't know. But then Braun Strowman is a huge muscular guy, and he's got a Superman tattoo on his in this almost the exact same spot.
Yeah, so does Shaq, and so does every other steroid
Uh-huh.
in the world.
For some reason, the Superman logo is one of the most popular tattoos on the market. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That is what Tony Schiavone has done in his midlife crisis that he is going through in his 60s. Well, I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he's got two cubic zirconian earrings, one in each ear.
Why wouldn't he get
I
real?
can only imagine what's going through his wife's head at this point
Why wouldn't he get real diamond?
because he just walked into a Claire's apparently and got his ears pierced on a whim.
Claire's is like that little, you
The
know,
place in the mall, yeah.
side strip that sells like barrettes and stuff.
Uh huh.
What an idiot!
I know, right? Oh, Conrad gives him shit all the time for it. That's one of the. If you're not honest to God, if you guys are not watching What Happened When, which is Tony Schiavone's podcast, do yourself a favor, find the channel on YouTube. It's What Happened When, and watch the Tony Schiavone podcast and laugh your ass off at Conrad Thompson giving Tony Schiavone shit for the stupid things that Tony Schiavone is doing with his life at this point.
Wow.
I swear half of their podcast is Conrad giving Tony shit.
Are they at least big gaudy earrings like R. Kelly type of earrings?
They're the big zirconian stud.
Wow, that's awesome.
He's worn them on AEW, man. He's worn them on national television.
He knows how you could buy real diamonds, right? And make his ears look at least normal and decent with earrings.
Yeah, yeah. He said he's looked at him, and his wife looked at him and looked at the earrings and looked at the price tag and looked at him and then looked at the price tag and looked at him and looked at the. I think his wife said no.
So he couldn't spend $300 to get some diamond earrings. So he went and spent $399 and got some plastic earrings.
No, no, you're missing the point. Those cubic zirconian earrings that he has are the $300 ones. The big diamond studs that are the same size, you're looking at 3 grand.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Don't be stupid. Those look terrible on anybody. They're not meant for your ears. You go get a normal set of diamond studs
No,
and
he's got the big thing.
stu-
Yeah, he's got the studs that the
When's
cubic
his rap album
zirconian
come out?
stud costs $300.
When's his rap album come out?
But he just put out a comic book. He wrote a graphic novel about his career in wrestling. Uh, it's called Butts and Seats.
I hate to have to further that conversation.
Well, you said you hate to do it, so that means that you're going to do it. What
No, I don't know if I want to get involved in Tony Schiavone's butts and seats.
yeah, putting fans' butts in the seats in the arena basically is what he's alluding to.
Yeah, that's what he wants you to think it is. But when you start reading it and he's talking about some weird stuff.
No, no, he's not. It's about his career in wrestling, about the rise of WCW and all that kind of stuff when he was working there. His brief time working in WWE, which was I think all of a year before Vince decided, nope, you know what, I don't like that guy, he's fired, and then he went back to WCW and almost had the last laugh until AOL Time Warner decided they didn't want wrestling anymore, and I still say internally sabotaged the whole damn thing so that they would have an excuse to sell the company off. Why else would you bring Vince Russo in? And Obnoxious says it's 100% by putting out cigs in someone's ass.
See, told you.
No, I've actually seen snippets of the comic. It's not what you would find in a gay porn shop.
I bet you Barack Obama and Anthony Fauci got this comic book.
No, neither one of them are in it from what I've seen. It's actually getting decent reviews.
Yeah, so did Cuties.
No, no, no. Cuties got bad reviews. They just want you to think it got good. I'm talking good reviews from people that have actually read it, not critics. Cuties got good reviews from the critics
That's
who
right.
will who will give anything where the leftist made a good review. The critics gave Amy Schumer's comedy special a good review.
You gotta warn me before you say that name.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, I'm not gonna sleep for a week, man.
I apologize.
Oh,
You'll be
filthy,
now you know.
disgusting person. Ew.
But now you know how my world is not being able to sleep for a week.
Yeah, but you were just restless. I'm gonna have nightmares with my eyes open because that horrible excuse for animated flesh. Uh,
Well, the person that shall not be named has come out and said that since she's become a mother,
oh
her
God.
worldview and all that stuff that she did in her comedy special says completely changed.
Yeah, too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
She's like
My,
being a mother made her wiser. This
my,
was her comment.
my forgiveness train left the station years ago. So
Hmm.
stand there and wait for the next one.
Well, I'm not arguing with you.
Oh man, what a horrible person. I have pity on her child. That's her mother.
Hey, one thing I will say in her favor: at least she didn't name her daughter Apple.
Oh my god, I might throw up, but I gotta say it out loud. So prepare yourself. Imagine if Amy Schumer had a my scented candle.
Oh yeah, the same person that named their daughter Apple does.
Oh gosh.
Oh
There's a
man.
bridge. There's a bridge not far from here. I think I'm gonna go jump off it.
Yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow has a candle that smells like her, and by her I mean the parts that you cover with underwear.
Oh god.
Yeah, that woman is not right, man.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. Like I'm gonna have to send everybody psychiatric treatment for a year. Whoever's in the chat, send me your bill, and I'll pay for it for the next year because oh gosh.
Yeah. When Steven Crowder on his show said that on Mug Club, in the comment section, everybody at just about the same time typed, "I think I just threw up in my mouth."
Oh, all right. So that candle that we were talking about from that disgusting person has been brought up before.
Yeah, it's supposed to be extremely expensive in KJO.
Yeah, not the Gwyneth one, the Amy Schumer one.
Okay, what about her?
If she had a candle that smelled like that from
Yeah,
her, oh god, that would like you could take wallpaper if you got wallpaper or asbestos
you
or
know,
a steel wall in front of you that you need to melt down. You could light that candle and it'd come back in an hour, and the steel wall would probably.
yeah, that would be the one where you would be lighting the other one's candle to get rid of the odor from the other candle. Ugh. Another one or something that I won't even think about lighting.
I'd get one of those Acme rockets, and right as I was lighting the candle, I'd light the rocket and ride off it like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, I would get one of those candles to strip the paint off from where assholes painted the window frames in the house that should be nice stained like all the other woodwork, like they are in other areas of the house. But it would strip all the stain and everything off the wood too, and cause it to start decaying, and then the roof would start falling in, yeah. It'd be like one
Anything.
of those movies where they have that bomb that goes off and everything just starts falling apart because the gas is highly corrosive. Why would anybody even think somebody would want that item? Is-
I might be sick. No, I don't think so. That's disgusting. I can't believe that. Like we should somebody should ban us off the internet for talking. Hey,
What's
Susan, wake up, Susan.
okay? What's worse, a sex toy made out of somebody's private parts, or a candle that smells like them?
If we're talking about Gwyneth Paltrow, I'd rather have the sex toy. Uh, if we're talking about Amy Schumer, oh my gosh, oh dude, is castration an
That's not
option?
an option. It's not an option in this case. You got
All
to
right,
choose the candle or the sex toy.
all right. What other stipulate like just use it once?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I would go with the sex toy for one reason. It's not actually her. It's silicone or latex.
Yeah, I think I gotta do that. I gotta do that.
See, obnoxious comment.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta go with the toy because there's no way you're getting that smell out of your nose. Your nose would probably jump off your face and spit at you and then run away.
Yeah, I mean, the toy is definitely got to be the right answer because it's not like they actually cut out. the one who shall not be named, and mummified it and turned that into a toy.
I don't even know if they'd make a box that could hold something that disgusting.
Oh, it
Like,
would be a
could you
lead
imagine
case.
how many people would die making a copy of that?
It would be a lead case. They would put it in. They would put it in a lead case and then seal it, and you would have to unseal it once you got to your house. That would be the only way they could do it.
You'd have to get some of the Wuhan laboratory guys to come over
Oh
and
man, even
do
they
all the
wouldn't touch that
development
shit.
work.
Come on, even they wouldn't touch that shit. The Chinese be like, "Oh, that's Amy Schumer. That's Amy Schumer private part. Oh, we don't touch that. No, get that out of here. You evil." No, they would. No, the Chinese, even the Chinese in Wuhan wouldn't touch that shit.
Imagine the poor guy who has to take the 3D images in order to make the mold. Oh, God, I throw up. Ew.
Do you ever see the woman? There is a woman who has collected plaster copies of guys' junk. She has all these famous people going all the way back to the '60s. Like she has Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Robert Palmer, Robert Plant, all these famous rock musicians and actors and stuff. She has on her shelf plaster copies of their hard-ons. Talk about a weird fetish.
Yeah, that's and think about some roadie sends you an email and says, "Hey, Rich, send me a wax copy or a mold or your junk," and you're so stupid and twisted that you're like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
No,
Hey,
no, no.
honey, break
No,
out that
big.
mold and let's make a mold of the Johnson over here."
No, you're missing the point. She did this in person with all these people.
Either way, my point is the person that she asked was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it. The world is crazy, and the world has been crazy for a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
People think this shit's new.
no,
No. You ever go back? You ever see pictures of the side? You know that you go over to Rome and they show you all the relics of what's left of the Senate or the Colosseum or whatever famous building. Do you ever see the pictures taken from the side that the tour guides don't show you?
apparently not.
It's a bunch of pornographic graffiti.
Yeah,
These tour,
Europeans are weird.
yeah, no, this is old graffiti. This isn't modern. This shit is graffiti from ancient Rome.
Yeah, I was being as bold as
Yeah.
broad stroking as I can.
Well, I wanted to clarify.
Europeans
Yeah, I know. I
are
wanted to
weird.
clarify the time period though,
Oh,
because
I'm clarifying it
somebody,
doesn't matter.
some people may think, oh yeah, Europeans are weird. Yeah, look at what the French do today. No, this was like 2,000 years ago. People were like throwing pictures of dicks on buildings.
I don't know. Barack Obama's wife, Mike Obama's, might be a little bit bigger than Amy Schumer's.
Well, we
Yeah, the
know.
old Romans were a bunch of perverts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The things that the tour guides don't show you is the really crazy stuff over in Rome. You get a tour guide, and then you go get the other tour guide that's going to show you all the crazy shit, and that's where your mind really gets blown.
How many stupid tourists do you think took their shoes off and got in the little wishing well when like Clark W. Griswold and got their camera stole from them?
Oh, I'm sure it happens all the time because people are stupid. You know, like I always say, never underestimate the power of stupid.
Sarah Silverman's another one that's disgusting.
Ugh.
Bernie's out there. What's up, Bernie?
Hey, Bernie. At least Sarah Silverman used to be good looking at one time before she all really went crazy.
Yeah. I like looking at the before and after pictures of what leftist does to women.
Hmm. Yeah, the one that shall not be named just because of who her uncle is, I don't think probably ever looked good.
No, she was born upside down. She should have been
Uh-huh.
thrown away or something. Yeah, or fed to the dogs or something. She's disgusting. Yeah. Hey,
Sarah Silverman at one point actually was cute. Don't, don't know what's in the water that these leftists drink, but yeah. Keep, remember, at one time Nancy Pelosi was a beauty queen. She had won beauty pageants.
somebody put out a picture
Now she looks like Skeletor.
of Nancy Pelosi standing with JFK when she was like 16 or something like that. I can't remember where I saw that. She was. It didn't look like her because she was a little kid, but that's what they said it was.
You ever seen Rachel Madcow's senior picture?
Yeah, yeah, that young boy used to be a nice looking young girl,
Oh yeah, she was a pretty little blonde.
and she turned out to be, her and Chris Hayes are fighting to see who looks like each other the most.
Uh-huh.
One of these days, Rachel Madcow is going to hit puberty and start growing a little mustache out. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, we're gonna do this little poll. See how many of you people know who I'm even talking about here. But a little poll. See, we'll just get some uh, get some feedback on this one. So, yes or no? Simple question. You got 5 people out there, so according to StreamYard, see what we get here. If you guys, somebody said yes. Who the hell said yes? So whoever said yes obviously has never seen or heard Brian Stelter. We've had 2 votes, and now there's only 4 people. Somebody got offended and ran off, I guess.
What happened?
Look at the poll. I put out on
All
YouTube.
right, well,
We as soon as I put that poll up, we lost a viewer according to StreamYard.
Brian Stelter's super gay.
Oh, absolutely. Oh no, the 5th person's back. Maybe they just had internet issues.
That was probably me.
Oh, okay.
That idiot said that doing your own research is bad.
Uh-huh.
He did a whole segment on why doing your own research is bad.
Well, we already know Bernie Sanchez is you, Bernie. Are you admitting to saying yes? Hmm? Hmm? We're on to you, Bernie. You got the same initials. You go by Bernie. Yeah, we're on to you. You don't fool us with that Gadsden flag.
You've seen the psyop with the whole tiki torches thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. The Lincoln Project has admitted that they staged that whole thing.
They only lied. They lied about that. They just took the heat.
Yeah, no, I'm saying,
All those
I
people are from the Virginia Democratic Party.
well, so is the Lincoln Project. Let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but they pretend to be Republicans, though.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's the key word. Pretend. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they staged that whole thing and got Democrats involved with them because they're supporting the Democratic candidate because Trump came out and supported the black dude. And Trump's the racist. Remember that.
It was QT Marshall.
QT Marshall is somebody in I mean not WWE, AEW. Probably from that match with Big Show or no, who was it he had just fought recently and they clocked him a good one. I don't remember who it was now. Fairly recent. Damn it, who the hell was it? I'm drawing a complete blank on who it was. But they clocked him real good right in the eye. So that's probably what that's from. That's not an answer, Bernie. I don't think we're gonna get any more votes. We got 3 out of 5. 2 people. Yeah, we did better than the national average of likely voters. So we got 3/5. Can't even get that many people to vote in the national election. 2/3 of 3 said no. Ryan Stelter is not straight, and they would be correct. Thank you for finally posting the final results, YouTube. That was nice of you. You think we'll get a strike for that? You never know with YouTube. Remember, YouTube, you cannot talk about transsexuals raping women in prison, or you get a strike.
You can't talk about them raping people in Virginia schools either.
Now that makes you a threat to national security. Speaking of, this was going to be a topic for tomorrow, but since tomorrow's Halloween, did you see Merrick's non-answer on the Senate Judiciary Committee's questioning about that?
I've heard it played a couple times, but I didn't like actually watch it.
Oh my god! He flat out said there was no collaboration between him and the U.S. School Board Association or whatever it is. Meanwhile, the U.S. School Board Association came out and admitted, yeah, we were collaborating with the Attorney General's office on this the entire time. The association admitted to it, and Garland's like, no, no, that never happened. That is a clear case of what is known as perjury, ladies and gentlemen. And lying to the Senate is a felony above perjury. So not only when he said no, it never happened. When you had multiple people from from the organization that collaborated with the Attorney General's office on that said yes, it happened.
Who was the
Our
last person to go to jail for perjury?
shit, I don't know. It's happened, but yeah, he commit whether he gets charged or not, he committed 2 felonies when he said no.
Yeah, but like for the past what 20 years, everyone who's testified in Congress has lied over and over again, and no
Oh
one's.
yeah, no kidding. Remember
Again,
Eric
I guess
Holder?
I'm talking about political people. I'm sure there's some John Doe public that testified and got, 5 seconds wrong in his thing, and they locked him up for it. But I'm talking about any like
No,
politician or
yeah,
powerful person.
MKGO says Roger Stone, which that may be, or one of Trump's other confidants that they tried prosecuting for shit. But if you go back to Eric Holt, what I was going to say about Eric Holder, he was found by Congress to be in contempt of Congress for committing perjury, and of course the Justice Department didn't prosecute him because he's in charge. He was in charge of the Justice Department. Nothing was going to come of that.
James Clapper lied when they asked him about if he was spying on everybody, and then when they brought him back and they said, "Why did you lie?" He said it was the least untruthful thing I could say, and then he just got away with it. So he admitted that he lied after getting caught that he lied,
Oh
and
yeah, how many of them have lied to the FBI? That's a felony too. Lying to the FBI in and of itself is a felony. People get
only counts if
these
your name's Michael
politicians and
Flynn.
shit get away with it all the time.
Yeah, only Michael Flynn didn't get away with it.
Yeah,
That guy Dinesh D'Souza went to jail over what, $1,200?
something like that. Did Trump pardon him?
No,
No.
unfortunately, I don't think so. Trump's pardon list made me pretty pissed off. He pardoned a bunch of scumbags who could have just
Oh
stayed.
yeah, no kidding. Of all the people you pardoned, Kwame Lassiter? Come on, Trump. The fuck?
Yeah,
That guy deserved to be there.
I
But I
couldn't.
think he did it just as the as a shot to the Democrats. I think it's the only reason why he pardoned Lassiter was a last parting shot. Ugh.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with that whole list.
You got a bunch of Democrats that go and get Kwame Lassiter convicted of what they're doing. Yeah, so Trump pardoned the guy, you know.
I got Bernie on speed dial, so if I ever get locked up, I'm gonna be like, hey, whoa, 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 call my man Bernie. He's got to get out of jail free.
Yeah, apparently. Like MKJO said about Merrick Garland, he one of the senators said, "Thank God he's not a Supreme Court justice." I've said that. So you remember, this is the guy that Obama wanted to push into the Supreme Court at the end of his term.
I was gonna do a video for Hillary's birthday the other day, but I ended up working till like 8:30 at night, so I decided not to. But you know, all in all, Joe Biden's butt's been wiped, and Hillary Clinton still isn't president.
And Joe Biden's butt has been wiped. Remember, he got off of Marine too. My butt's been wiped.
Yeah, I know. So I'm
Yeah,
just doing my news, just repeating the facts.
yeah. My butt's been wiped. I would have loved to have known what because you can't make out what the reporter asks him, but his response, "My butt's been wiped." Well, thanks, Joe, but that doesn't answer my question. Well,
Salty posted a video. Apparently, Trump went to the baseball game and was doing the tomahawk chop.
yeah, he was a racist.
That that bald-headed scumbag Joy Reid was
Mm-hmm.
flipping out about the tomahawk chop the other day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they do it at every Braves game, every Florida State game. I mean, the best one, if you remember, a couple of years ago, was that somebody tried saying that the Gator Chomp at Florida was racist. They're simulating an alligator. How is it racist?
There, somebody, the PETA wants baseball to change the name of the bullpen. because it's uh demeaning to animals or something like that.
It's the meaning the cattle. What?
Yeah, apparently the bullpen, they made up some nonsense about the bullpen was like this little cage that they kept the bulls in before they killed them or something like that.
Oh my god! They do realize that that term is not just used in baseball, right?
Yeah, they're stupid. I mean, it's PETA, man. They're stupid. PETA actually funds more kill shelters than there are
Oh, I'm
non-PETA
well.
funded
Yeah,
kill
I know.
shelters.
I know. They kill more animals a year than all the other animal shelters in the United States combined. But, yeah, I wonder what their thoughts on the gorilla position in WWE is. If you don't know what the gorilla position is, that's the immediate area before you go through the curtains to go out to the ring. That's where Vince sits and like Triple H will sit with all the monitors and give people their cue on when to go out and stuff like that. Where they cue up the music, the entrance music, and that stuff. It's named for Gorilla Monsoon because that's where he used to sit when he was running things. So they started calling it the gorilla position. I wonder what Peter's thoughts on that are. Is that derogatory and demeaning to gorillas?
Probably.
Notice how I turned it back to wrestling.
Tyler Zed wants to know, uh, is candy corn
Oh God, I
yummy or
already answered
not?
that poll. I answered that poll already.
Which one did you give it?
Yucky.
Uh,
I I do not like candy corn. Candy corn is one of my least favorite candies, and Milk Duds has joined that list. I had one of those small little boxes because somebody, one of my wife's patients at the holidays, always makes up the text little candy bags, as a way of saying thank you. And he had like Milk Duds in it this time. They are nothing like when my grandfather used to bring them home from the Clark factory in Pittsburgh. They suck now. They barely have any chocolate on them whatsoever, and the caramel in them is just nasty.
excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna get a. I got some paint in my room. I'm painting some cabinet doors. I'm gonna start spitting paint out of a straw and see if I can make some money like on it.
Hey man, there is a guy. I don't know if you've ever seen this. He goes to airports where they have the small little private jets and has the pilot or whoever fire the jets up on the airplane, sets up a giant canvas, throws the paint into the jet wash to where it splatters on on the canvas, and calls that art.
Yeah, art's another thing that's been compromised. You know,
It's all
we let
it's
lunatics
Andy.
take the word art to become anything.
Yeah, it's Andy Warhol's fault. I firmly blame Andy Warhol for all this art bullshit. That guy was off his damn nut, and everybody treats him like he's some kind of god to art. His shit sucks. Don't if you go to Pittsburgh, do not waste your money on the Andy Warhol Museum. I mean, that, there is nothing in there that's worth looking at, and I mean nothing. Ooh, look, he painted a picture of a Campbell soup can. How is that art? Yeah, art's like the Mona Lisa, the picture of Washington that's on the dollar bill the portrait that's on the dollar bill was never finished, by the way. I don't know how many of you actually know that, but if you actually see the full size portrait, if you look down in the bottom right hand corner, it was never finished. You can see where the artist stopped painting for the day and then never completed it. The whole bottom right hand corner of the painting is still bare canvas.
Let me see what's at the dollar bill.
Hmm? Yeah, the picture on the dollar bill.
The Washington picture.
Yeah, it's taken from a portrait that a guy painted of Washington. It's believed to be the last known portrait of Washington that was painted, and it was never finished.
Pretty interesting.
Basically, it would be like where his left shoulder would be in the arm. That part of the picture was never completed. Let's see if I can find a picture of it to show you. And it's also, if I remember right, the picture's also in reverse. If they flipped it around or something. Yeah, they're not showing the whole picture. They're just showing the goddamn part that's on the dollar bill. Maybe this one's got it. Yeah, here we go. Go back over here to StreamYard. Share screen. Yeah, see, here's the picture. You can see they flipped the picture around. Look down here in the bottom right hand corner. It was never finished. That's
Yeah.
where the artist left off. They never finished the picture. Interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could always say it's done, and he was just leaving it like that, too.
No, his intent was to finish the picture. He just never went back and finished it. For whatever reason, that's how he left it. Defense that, you gotta remember back then $1 was a hell of a lot of money. The average salary for a week's worth of work may have been 30 cents. I mean, $1, that was a hell of a lot of money back in Washington's time.
They didn't have that useless dollar bill back then, though.
No,
They
they didn't
actually
have
had
it.
real money.
Well, dollar back then may have been a gold coin.
That's what I mean. They had real
Yeah,
money that had actual value.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. $1, yeah, like $1. I was agreeing with you.
So I'm right. That, that's all you need to say. Okay,
Well, I was giving an example of how it would have been real money. $1 coin back then may have been made out of gold. You know, Defense Stat says stop shooting holes in his theory. Well, come up with a better theory, and we won't. Bernie says his finger paintings will be worth a fortune. You can't even see the lines. Now, are we talking paintings that are made using your finger, or are you painting pictures of fingers?
that's a good question.
Hey, you never know, man. You've seen the shit that passes for art these days. Still trying to figure out what the hell to do for tomorrow's show. Halloween. Defense Dad says he's too tired. You get what you get. It was a long day at work. That sucks. Heck, on my face now I'm sneezing. That's why I muted. He says it's the bird in pastels. So he's painting pictures of fingers. Now, are you finger painting pictures of fingers? Then it would
That's
be a
where
finger.
it's at.
That would be a finger painting painting.
That's where it's at. When I was in art class, we had to pick something and copy it. And I picked a picture of a guy painting a window of a guy looking out a window.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
was
I was gonna say, if Bernie really wants to go over the top, he could do a finger painting of somebody doing a finger painting of somebody doing a finger painting. Have it be like when you hold a mirror up to a mirror, just have infinite pictures of people painting finger paintings of people painting finger paintings.
that's like some MC Escher stuff.
See, Defense Dad, you could have been here watching this, but instead you were watching Hackers. Come on, man. You missed all the good stuff, like vagina scented candles.
Gross.
I didn't say it wasn't gross. I never once said it wasn't gross. I think that was the whole point of the conversation was how disgusting it is. I don't even remember how the hell we got on that topic. We went down a we were I know at one point we were talking about hot women in wrestling, and then somehow we got to the absolutely odd novelty products, I guess you could call it, that Gwyneth Paltrow sells. Bernie says his painting represents the racism against his people. What, old Jews from Vermont?
Barricade Garage has been doing a pretty good Bernie Sanders lately. That's been pretty funny.
Oh, have you ever seen Steven Crowder's imitation of Bernie?
No,
He starts out sounding like Bernie Sanders and finishes sounding like Gilbert Gottfried.
that's funny.
Defense Dad says vagina candles, huh? I bet those smell horrible when you blow them out. They smell terrible as soon as you light it, or before you light it. And don't go down the rabbit hole that Kingpin went down with those, because he went with a comedian who shall not be named. If she had one of those candles,
No, I blame that on MKHO.
was that his fault?
It is now.
Okay, I honestly couldn't remember. I just remember you being the one that was talking about it in here.
The last person that you agreed with, aka that was correct, was definitely me. And the person after that was obnoxious. And I'm sure both of us are going to blame MKJ.
I don't know if obnoxious is even still out there. He hasn't said anything in a while. We may have chased him off with that conversation.
I feel free to speak for him.
Okay.
He blames MKJ as well.
He says was not.
Maybe it was Gary.
Gary wasn't in here long enough. Gary jumped in, said, "What's this?" and then probably left again as soon as he heard what we were talking about. Of course, All things considered, maybe not because we tend to talk about worse things than that on his after chats. Oh boy, if we were live during the after chats some nights, it would be better. It's definitely better than what we were talking about on the show. Obnoxious pretty much signed his own death warrant last night when they go to Tulsa next month.
I'm assuming Mystic threatened him again.
Oh, and rightfully so.
She ain't gonna do nothing to him.
Uh,
I came back and
I,
unsaid again.
I am not going to repeat what was said last night in the after chat in case she is still lurking out there. I think I'm not on her death list yet. Even though Obnoxious and Moo did their damnedest to get me put on that list.
I think it's a conspiracy.
Uh, how long have we been doing? Holy hell, it's 2.5 hours already. I was planning on doing a 1 hour show tonight because I have not slept well. I was planning on going to bed early tonight. That idea went out the fucking window.
Yeah, but the only person that knew about that idea until 3 seconds ago was you.
Uh-huh. I always have that idea and it never goes according to plan. I've even said at the beginning of the show we're probably going to only go an hour tonight, and we've gone 3 hours before we know what happened.
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the show, you should say, "Hey, man, we're only gonna do an hour."
What did I just say? I have done that, and we went 3 hours.
No, you never said that. You
Oh
never said.
yes, I have. I can go back and find the episode and prove
Uh,
it.
uh,
Oh, you know the episode where we talked about Extreme Rules and we played that itty bitty little clip of which would fall into fair use of Corey Taylor slapping the shit out of Baron Corbin got a copyright violation in Pakistan of all places.
I get that, man. Probably because I delete a lot of videos. Half of my videos have got copyright claims on, and then the ones that don't have copyright claims on them, half of the ones that don't have copyright claims on them don't have copyright claims on them because they were straight blocked before I could even upload them.
Yeah,
Like
but
while I was uploading them, YouTube stepped in and said, "Nope."
the crazy thing is the copyright violation came from WWE itself, but only in certain countries.
Yeah, who cares about that stuff, man? You don't have to monetize your channel.
No, no, but it was just weird the list of countries that they said it was demonetized in.
Yeah,
Like,
my very first one was when I did the '64 Impala at the car show, and there was music playing in the background. It said that that some countries are gonna block my video, and I was like, I had never got one before. I didn't know what that meant, so I started reading into it, and I was like, so in other words, I'm not gonna get paid for this, and some countries aren't gonna see it.
yeah,
Yeah, of course I want to keep that posted. I don't care if people outside of America see this video.
yeah, but you would think if they were going to make a copyright claim, they would have made with it being WWE, it would have been worldwide, not like in Pakistan and Bangladesh and all these other Muslim countries. I think it was. I think it was all Muslim countries.
The last video that I put out on Sunday was going to be 2 weeks ago, but it got deleted. Like as soon as while I was uploading it, YouTube came through and said, "No, this is blocked. We're not letting you do it." And that's why I had to do an audio version with the little moon and the water instead, because the original clip got completely blocked.
Now, Defense Net has a good question, but I think he's got the wrong song. Is Winona's Big Brown Beaver proper music to listen to when you have those candles burning? I would say probably WAP.
Primus sucks.
Well, that isn't like Cardi B's any better.
Nah, Primus sucks is like a term of endearment that people who are fans of Primus would say.
Well, nobody's mentioned Primus. So.
One Otis Big Brown Beaver's a Primus song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I figured you knew that. One
No,
Otis the Big Brown Beaver. I
no.
can't. I can't really sing any of the rest of it.
I haven't. I've never really listened to Primus. Only a couple of their songs.
Yeah, I like Primus. I went to one of their concerts at I think it was the Towson Field House.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a whole one of their albums. I've heard a song here, a song there, like on soundtracks and shit like that, or like on MTV with different music videos. What I've heard, I liked, but I've never actually gotten into them to the point where I had like an album or anything. I was thinking he was talking about Winona Judd had a song called that or something.
No, you pretty much if you listen to the hits, then you're pretty much good. Like most of the people who like the non-hits of Primus, uh, liked them just because of who they were. I mean, they had their shtick, I guess you could call it. I mean, not
Yeah,
trying
they
to.
definitely had a shtick. I mean, they definitely didn't sound like anybody else. That's for sure.
Yeah, so like if you were into that, you were into that. But if you only liked the hits, everybody got that because they were really the only reason most people knew them was because of their hits,
Hmm.
like anybody else, I guess. Yeah, but the shows were fun.
The Primus songs I like. I think I like Tommy the Cat the best.
I just like the sound that Primus had. Like,
Oh, they had those funky ass bass lines in their
yeah,
songs.
yeah.
As a former bassist in high school, I can definitely appreciate those bass lines in those songs. They were pretty cool. Bob Cock and his Yellow Sock. What were they trying to copy the Chili Peppers or something? Said they had an alternate band called Bob Cock and Yellow Sock. It sounds like Chili Peppers going out to performing just about every one of their concerts. The whole wearing a single sock and it wasn't on their foot deal.
Wasn't that like an MTV Music Awards or something?
They did that quite a few times. They would go out in concert and do that. There were some places that threatened them with the obscenity charges. What kind of like they did with Jim Morrison. So,
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting discussion. It's obscene,
uh
and
huh.
he should have been fined for doing it. He should have been arrested for doing it. Put your clothes on, asshole. But there's a whole bunch of open-minded people that were like,
Hmm.
"That's censorship." Huh, huh, huh. And then some other person who would be like, "Okay, well, if you're gonna let that dude stand up there wearing a sock and that's it around his junk, what else are you going to accept? That's not going to happen. We're not going to. This It's not going to get any more extreme than this. This is the limit, and nothing else crazy could happen. So all the stuff that you're saying, you're making it up because you're a bigot of some sort. And now look where we are now.
Hmm. Yeah, the same people that are saying that are the ones that want to censor everybody on YouTube for saying something that they get offended by.
Yeah, I'm talking about. I don't do a whole lot of pointing at them. All when I do the point, I'm pointing at us. I'm talking about the us. I know them. Thems are always going to do the nasty stuff that I don't like. I'm talking about the us's that put up with that stuff. Same thing with the whole when the whole Coco Ono hit, and all these people started buying guns. All the gun channels were like, "Yeah, we're going to get a bunch of Democrat, liberal, progressives that are going to be super pro 2A now." And I was like,
Nope.
"No, they're not.
No, we're
Not
not.
really."
We're going to have a bunch of used guns are going to be cheap soon in the gun shops. Is what we're going.
Well, I mean, that's why we're as weak as we are, is because we'll accept anything. Any idiot that walks along with a gun. Yeah, I even asked the question before. If Bill de Blasio came out and said, "We're going to kill babies anytime you want. We're going to have trannies in schools. We're going to have critical race, all the other progressive
You don't
Democrat
have
stuff."
You don't
But
have to go to Bill de Blasio, man. We got it in Virginia right now.
but I'm gonna be cool with guns. I'm super pro 2A, but we're gonna kill your baby after it's been born and laying on the table for about 25 minutes. We'll go chop its head off.
Yeah. Remember comments Ralph Northam has made, and people say he's a moderate.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But a whole bunch of us were like, yeah, no, that's cool. I'd vote for Bill de Blasio with all those other crazy and out of control thoughts on how to govern people if he said he was pro 2A. You're an idiot.
hmm No, I'm not giving money to the Firearms Policy Coalition anytime soon because they wrote an amicus brief against Texas's abortion law. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I pretty much. I've been unplugging quite a bit lately.
Yeah. I saw that story on Breitbart earlier this week. They wrote an amicus brief saying that the Texas abortion law is a slippery slope for constitutional protections. I'm like, oh, shove it up your ass.
Have a good night, MK Joe.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny. Some comedian or YouTube person made a joke about maybe it was the radio or something, but the sports ball championship is in Texas and Georgia.
Yeah, they made a big deal. The first time two former Confederate states have been in the. Oh, shove it up your ass.
Oh no, I was hearing stuff from the quote unquote our side where they took the Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever the
The
All
All
Star
Star game.
game from Georgia because of racism, and now Georgia's in the championship. And then they hate Texas because Texas doesn't think you should be able to stick a knife in between a baby's spine and suck its brain out with a vacuum whenever you feel like it. And so it's Texas and Georgia in the championship.
hmm Yeah, it is. It's the Braves versus the Astros. So, yeah, it's
Unfortunately, it's Houston because Houston's pretty lefty, but
yeah. Well,
still,
so's Atlanta.
yeah. But it's okay.
But those teams also have fans that live in the suburbs that are more conservative too. So
I don't want to. I'm disappointed. The sports ball thing, man. I don't know. I can't really say too much else about my feelings on sports ball without insulting a bunch of my friends, and I don't want to do that because it's not
you,
really.
you can insult baseball all you want. I'm done with baseball. I was done with baseball back in '97 when they had the second strike in 3 fucking years because those whiny bastards. We need better medical care and money. Well, didn't you just do that 3 years ago, assholes? That wasn't good enough. Fuck you too, you sons of bitches. You make more money than half the people in this country, and you bitch that you don't make enough money. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think the last real baseball player was Derek Jeter. I think he was the end of an era of baseball players. You know, uh, but I don't understand how your next door neighbor can spit in your face and kick you in the knee and let his dog crap on your yard and drive over your mailbox every day, and you still buy him lunch every day. Like how can these leagues and these athletes insult everything that you stand for over and over and over and over again, and you still can't wait for sport day game to come on so you can sit behind the TV and cheer on the local team.
It's a break from reality, depending on what team you're watching.
And I
Not
get
all.
it. I get long-standing histories and family like the sport ball team, and I don't count high school if you got kids in sports. And I know everybody in Texas is gonna be like, yeah, Texas to football is a rite of passage. Oh my gosh, But I get that they're kids. I'm talking about these professional athletes that hate your guts
Yeah,
and tell you all the time right to your face how big of a piece of shit they think you are, and you
yeah.
can't wait to go out and buy their jersey.
The thing that gets me is the people that say, "Well, they got a right to protest. You need to be quiet about." It. No, see, here's the thing: people watch sports to get away from the politics and everything of their everyday life. It's something to sit around and watch. That used to be something you would sit around, watch with your family, and root for, to escape reality for a few hours. And these assholes want to bring in their political opinions, throw it in everybody's face, and take that away from everybody else. Shut up and do your fucking job.
I don't even care about that. I don't
Yeah.
really. I don't.
No,
Uh,
but that's
I
a
get. I
lot
get.
of what the of why people are getting pissed off at them.
Yeah, and I,
They
I
don't.
get that angle big time. I really do understand that angle big time. But I'm gonna go just a stretch further and say, protest all you want. If that's what you feel like doing, protest all you want. But you better be right, and they're always wrong. Colin Kaepernick should have had his knees cut off by that Christina Brinkley girl with the ice skates on. Tanya Harding. He was wrong. If he was right, more power to you. But when you're wrong and you're lying and you're gaslighting and making stuff up, come on, give me a break.
Oh, it gets worse than that. I mean, people don't realize that the Supreme Court has ruled you do not have the right to protest on the job. Why is the NFL letting these players kneel? Is Major League Baseball letting these players kneel? Why is the NBA letting these players kneel? Make them do their job and stop the protesting. You have the right to stop your employees from protesting on your time. These players do not have the right to protest on the job.
The, the, the men in the suits at the office corporate building or whatever
Oh,
are
I know
afraid.
why it is.
They're afraid of the fat white woman that's going to come down with blue hair and nose rings.
Yeah, they're more afraid of them than they're tanking ratings. it's, it's crazy. The world is upside down.
Yeah, man. I've been wanting to shoot a video. I got a couple little action figures because I don't do the whole camera thing. And I was going to have one of the guys, sitting there chilling, and then his buddy walk and be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" "Oh, just watching news and politics." "Oh, I hate news and politics." "Yeah, I hate news and politics too. They're all liars. They're all cheats. You can't trust anything they say." And then do one of like the 5 second later things, and then have them flipping out over what news and politics just said. That's what happened. It's so funny, man. Especially like I guess the latest thing where it really went off the rails, as people say, was the coronavirus. Like 5 minutes before the coronavirus hit, it was pretty unanimous that the news was bullcrap, the politicians were all liars, and you couldn't trust any of these people. And then they started talking about runny noses, and everybody was like, "Yeah, but the news and the politicians and this said because this." And now I'm crazy because I think it's bullshit.
All you got to do to know that any of these actors and bands are full of shit. Rage Against the Machine, right? Rage Against the Machine, down with the machine, down with the man. Supports Joe Biden unequivocally. Is there anybody more machine establishment than Joe Biden?
I don't, if you're looking at the resume now, I don't think so. That's what I mean. Like, I don't get it. If
I don't get it.
people get all upset and twisted over these people doing foul, erroneous things. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. We sat back and watched a guy who didn't get any votes at all become the president. Hey, the Democrat Party, Kamala Harris said she dropped out before she got one single vote. And when the lady asked her why, she said electability. And basically, she was saying that America's racist and sexist and wasn't ready for her yet. Hey, you idiot! Only Democrats can vote in that poll. So it's your side that hates you.
Yeah, and the
Night
American
Burner.
people are so against electing Hindu Indians that they did it in South Carolina.
Night there, Bernie.
Night Bernie. Remember, Nikki Haley is part Hindu. They elected her in
Yeah,
South
but
Carolina.
that's
It,
that's
it,
that,
it's not. It's nothing about your race, Kamala. And quit trying to say you're black. You're not.
I just don't understand how level-headed normal people get so twisted up about all this kind of stuff. They can't see how nonsense 90% of it is.
Yeah. So there's a joke on Crowder's show. Kamala Harris is exactly as much has as much black in her as Crowder's producer does. Crowder's producer on the show they call him Quarter Black Garrett. His his dad is black as night. His dad is half black, and Quarter Black, if any, is a white is white. If anything, if you're going to mistake him as another race, it would be Mexican. He has exactly the same amount of black in him as Kamala Harris does, unless you count Willie Brown.
But I'm going to bed, man.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. I think you want to say? I mean, we've been all. Remember the 3 hours thing? We're at 2 minutes 51 minutes right now.
Yeah, let's not make 3 hours. Let's wrap it up and get out.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Everybody, thanks for hanging out and putting up with us. That was pretty fun tonight. I always appreciate the Saturday show, Rich. And
Yeah,
yes,
lately it's just been the two of us and then the crowd out there. So it, we haven't had a whole crowd in here like you get on the Sunday show at times.
yeah, a lot of people were doing different stuff on Saturdays, and then you know the whole wrestling thing. But the good thing about the wrestling thing is, like, nobody comes in and says, what do you idiots talk about men wrestling over again?" You seen the title of the show was Wrestling Chat, so you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to click on.
Yeah, right.
That's the one thing that aggravated me, like when you and Ellis were doing it. Like it clearly says old school wrestling chat, and people would hop on and be like, "I can't believe you talk about wrestling." You
Yeah,
see the title.
Scotsman was good for that one. He would get pissed off if we were talking about right. It's like, dude, we can talk about something else besides firearm shit sometimes. Sometimes it's good to blow off some steam talking about something else so you don't go crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, it'd be like going over to Guns and Barbecue right now and be like, "I can't believe you're talking about cooking."
Yeah.
I can't. What you're talking about cooking?
If all you do is talk about the bad and what's going on, you're going to go crazy. You got to blow off steam and talk and have a fun chat,
Or
and then
you
and
talk
not
about
just get
bad all you
serious.
want. You can have the skies falling channel 24 hours a day. I don't care, but just read the title.
Yeah. Well, my point is, you can't. If that's all you do, it's not good for your mental health. You gotta let off steam by doing something fun once in a while too. That's all my point is, and that's what the whole point of Ellis and I doing this show was in the first place. It was a way to blow off steam to where we're not going nuts just talking about the doom and gloom all the time. You know what I mean? So
All right, well, we're getting too close to this 3 hour thing. Let's get out.
yeah.
See you later, Defense Dad.
Yep. Later, Defense
Everybody,
Dad.
obnoxious Gary, everybody that came.
Yep. And everybody that's left out there, thank you for watching, and we will catch y'all tomorrow night, I guess.
Fiend Dog was out there. Mystic was out there.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll try to come up with something Halloweeny between now and then. I'll try and figure something out because again, tomorrow is Halloween, so maybe we'll do something. Maybe we'll talk about a serious story, but then we'll do like fun Halloween stuff. We're not gonna do like Halloween costumes or anything because I don't have it. That's
Gotcha.
tomorrow night's chat. Toting
Well,
pacifist.
the good news is the Gun Toting Pacifist is about to pop open a live stream with the guest host G23, and
Yeah,
they're going to talk about guns.
Yeah, go watch Gun Toting Pacifist channel. Him and G23. Now you two, if you no stones if you don't. No
What
stones if you
is it?
don't.
Saturday is DM Foss doing the late night?
I don't know.
Does he do? Is it Saturday?
I honestly I don't know. I haven't been getting any notifications from him lately, so I don't know.
It's
I have
funny.
to
I
check.
haven't been either, but I've been watching a lot of his stuff over on Odyssey. So it seems like the more I watch people's stuff over on Odyssey, the less I get it over on YouTube.
No stones, pacifist. No stones.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. Good to see you,
Yep.
Pacifist. Thanks again for the stickers, G23. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Pacifist, don't randomly send me anything anymore until I give you the new address. Because I don't know if I'll get it or not. So because we're going to be moving here not too much longer, so don't send anything until I get you the new address. 'Cause he'll randomly like send me Boston Bruins stickers and shit. For it's like you son of a bitch.
I like his video. It's every other Sunday. Okay. I like the way he does his videos. He's got a good sense of humor in his videos.
Oh yeah, Pacifist is a good guy. Like I said, he'll just randomly send me a Boston Bruins sticker out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck? The last ones you sent? Yeah, I got them. I thought I told you on Gary's show. Maybe not.
Okay. Good night. I'm clicking out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the. We're done. I'm hitting end broadcast, and we will make it under 3 hours. So later, everybody.
See ya.